the channel. So plenty coming up this weekend, but no WWE. So that means that tonight's show is hopefully going to be a bit juicier. Kind of felt like last week was fine. It was a perfectly fine show. I enjoyed it. And we did get a Bray segment, but I think the past couple of Bray segments have been a little bit subdued, a little bit subtle, a little bit, haven't really pushed the story forward all that much. I think if you're into it, there's been lots of little things to look at and things to theorize over. But I think for those that maybe aren't as deep into it, maybe it hasn't pushed the story along as quick as what they would have liked. There's been plenty of people saying, I'd really love to get a reveal. I would love to know who Uncle Howdy is. Where's Uncle Harper? Like, I feel like not only have we got to do all of that, but we need to start building a feud. I mean, we might be doing that anyway. Obviously, with Bray and Alexa, that might be a direction we're going in for a feud. Although, it's very hard to see Bray versus Alexa. So, I can't quite tell where that's going at the moment. I feel like he's probably trying to recruit Alexa more than go after Alexa. Because we're not going to get Bray versus Alexa, surely. Although saying that, we did get Randy Orton versus Alexa. Obviously, it was not very long. It was a bit weird. And it wasn't really a match. But yeah, I can't see him doing Bray Alexa. So bottom line is, we need to get a move on here. We need to pick up the pace a little bit, I think. Because it feels to me like there's a lot that we need to do. There's a lot of things that we need to get sorted. So I'm hoping tonight is going to be the night that we actually take a big step forward. So we'll have to wait and see. I'm still on board with the story. It doesn't really bother me, the speed we're going at. As long as we get a Bray segment, I'm quite happy. But I do think the past couple have been a little bit low-key rather than like some of the big steps that we've been taking in recent weeks. So Bray segment tonight. They haven't announced it, but we're surely going to get one. So looking forward to that. We know that the show is going to kick off with New Day versus the Usos. We also know that we're going to be getting Shinsuke Nakamura taking on Santos Escobar. That was announced last week. And we need to find the new number one contender for Ronda. And so we've got Liv versus Shotzi versus Sonya versus Raquel versus Xia Li versus Lacey Evans. Now, Ronda is a heel. We need to find a face. I don't think it'll be Liv because she's just had the title. So I don't think we're going to go back that way. Shotzi, I don't know if she's a face or a heel, to be honest. She could be in the run-in. Sonya's a heel, won't be her. Raquel is a good shout. Xia Li, I think, is a heel and seems to be in a feud with Emma. If you remember last week, she attacked her backstage. So I don't think it'll be Xia Li. And Lacey Evans, who the flip knows? I mean, honestly, who knows? So my guess is Raquel. That's my guess. But we did get Ronda versus Raquel not that long ago. So a little bit strange to revisit it. But I'm not down on it. They were good matches. And I'm sure this would be a good match as well. So my guess is Raquel, but it could be Shotzi. And I don't see any of the others, unless Lacey is a face and then maybe Lacey. But I don't think Liv, because obviously she's just had the belt. And I don't think she will get another match now. I don't think so. So I'm leaning towards Raquel on that. And I think that's everything that's been announced. To be honest, I think that's everything that's out there at the moment. New Day Usos, Nakamura versus Santos Escobar, and then this kind of 6-woman tournament thing, whatever it is, Battle Royal or 6-pack challenge. I haven't seen how they're doing it. So it's not going to be a tournament. It'll be either a Battle Royal, which I doubt it is, or a 6-pack challenge. I think it's that. Talking of tournaments, though, it does remind me that we've got the World Cup starting. The World Cup starts tonight. Not the Football World Cup, silly, but the Smackdown World Cup, where the winner will get a Intercontinental Championship opportunity. We know the people that are involved. I don't know if it's been announced yet, but it's certainly been reported, and it looks good lineup, actually. Looks a good lineup, so I don't think this is much of a spoiler, but I'm going to name the people that are in it. So if you don't want to know, then obviously just stop listening for a second. But these are the names that I'm seeing that are going to be in this tournament. So we've got Braun, we've got Shinsuke, we've got Santos Escobar, we've got Rey Mysterio, Jinder Mahal, Butch, Ricochet, and Sami Zayn. So straight away, they're not all American. Shinsuke, obviously Japanese, Butch from England, Sami from Canada, and then I think most of the others, if not all of the others, are American. Braun's American, Mysterio's American, Ricochet is American. Jinder, is he Canadian? I've got a feeling he's Canadian, maybe. But even so, we've got at least a bit more variety than we did in the last World Cup that they did, where everyone was American. So, yeah, quite excited for that. War Games should be announced for the men tonight, said Potato Man. Oh, is that true? I haven't heard that. That'll be good. Be interesting to see who is involved in that. Enigma said Ricochet is going to win. Everyone else is occupied. I was wondering about Sami. I mean, Sami is so over at the moment that, you know, could you have Sami win and then that gives him something to brag about? Because if you think the Usos have got 2 belts, Roman's got 2 belts, Solo did just have the North American Championship. I know he doesn't have it now, but it's been a long time since Sami had something to shout about. So I was looking at Sami, to be honest, wondering if they might go in that direction. Jinder, I don't think stands much of a chance, but it might be nice if he won because he's got nothing to shout about at the moment. He can't even get onto TV. So yeah, I think if Jinder was to win, that could be good for him. I wouldn't be against that, actually. Jinder needs something. Same with Rey Mysterio. Like, he's just come off this program with Dominic. He's now on SmackDown. You know, it might be good for him just to give him that little boost. I mean, look, Rey's a legend, so he doesn't really need it, but he wouldn't be hurt by winning it. Shinsuke. There we go. Bit of lag, which hopefully has fixed itself. Days, would you have a problem with Ronda and Shayna becoming tag champs and Ronda holding the SmackDown title at the same time? No, wouldn't have an issue with that. Your Lizard said, did you see Alec Pereira's face paint? I did. Where's the rest of it? There. Did you see his face paint and outfit? He looks so cool. Did you see his face paint and outfit? He looks so cool. I did. Who wants pizza? Said Joseph. I think all of us, mate. If you can just get in a couple of hundred pizzas, that'd be great. Amit said, good to see you. Do you think Bray's story has gone on too long? See, this is the conversation. This is where a lot of people are. Well, yeah, I don't think it's unfair to say a lot of people. I get asked this quite a bit. Do you think it's gone on too long? Seen some reviews online, but I understand but don't agree, says Amit. Yeah, so I think that for me, we keep having this same conversation. When it comes to Bray, it's people want to get to the match, right? So if you're not really into Bray and you enjoy watching his characters and whatever, but you're someone that enjoys the wrestling, then you want to get to the match. Like, who's his opponent? Who's he facing? When are they going up against each other? Like, what's going on? Why is it taking so long? You have to admit that this is much slower than what people are used to. People are used to, I mean, look at AEW. I mean, AEW just chucking stuff at you all the time. Like, it's constantly, like, they burn through stuff so quickly. It's like, number one challenger, championship match next week. That happens. Someone attacks, sets up another match, and it just keeps going like that. And it's fast. And I think a lot of the modern wrestling fans have been conditioned to want and expect stories to play out at that speed. Bang, 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 bang. Right, this is going to happen. He's going up against them. Now he's got these people joining him. Now this is going to happen. They've just brawled. And it's always that quick with the modern wrestling. And I think this Bray story has gone in completely the different direction. And it's taken its time and it's building up its characters. And it's really giving you the backstory. A lot of people might not realize it yet, but soon it will snap into focus. Once you know who Howdy is and you understand his relationship with Bray, everything that's come before will start to make a lot more sense. You know, let's say that we find out this week that Howdy is Bray. You can then go back and watch those old promos if you want to, now knowing that Howdy is Bray, and you will be able to get a much better understanding as to how the story has progressed and, you know, all those little subtleties, all those little things, those little hidden messages, the imagery, everything will make a lot more sense. The problem is that people just don't have that patience anymore. They just want to get to the matches, and there's really nothing like it in wrestling that's, you know, a story as deep as this, that's kind of taken its time like this is. But for me, I just think that when we actually get to the match, it's going to be so much more rewarding because you're going to know the characters on a much deeper level. I've always said character development is something I would love to see WWE put more time into. And I actually think that we should have less matches and we should have more character development. I'm a big advocate of really getting the fans to connect with characters. Don't just chuck them out there, quick, pointless promo that doesn't really say anything. Then they do a match, and that's it for this week. And then we do the same next week, the week after, the week after, week after, week after. I'm someone that really does like to explore the characters. I want to know their motivations. I want to know their backstories. I want to understand them, because when you've got a character that's really fleshed out and they go up against another character that's really fleshed out and you can understand both characters, that match is going to mean so much more. Look at Shawn against Undertaker. By the time they faced each other, we totally understood both people. We understood the journey that they had been on. Shawn was a very different person to the person he was in the 90s. He was portraying the light because he had found the light, because he was now like a Christian. And he was a troublemaker before, but now he had found the Lord and, you know, the Bible, and he was the light. And of course, the Undertaker representing the darkness. And they went and had what is still my favorite WWE match, WrestleMania 25. And I don't think that match would have been as good if I didn't know those performers as well. I think if those two had gone out there and they were just two, I don't want to say random performers, but if that was two NXT stars that had gone out and wrestled the exact same match, I really don't think that it would have hit me as hard, because I cared about both characters. And the reason why I cared is because I followed their careers and I knew who they were and I knew their backstories and I knew what it meant. You know, Shawn had made it very clear what it meant to him to be the one to end the Undertaker's streak. Hence, the next year, he wanted the rematch so bad, he put his career on the line. And so it was actually streak versus career. And all of that backstory is just so important. So important. It helps matches. So I really have no problem with taking our time. The only thing I would say is that I think if it's a problem for a lot of people, then it's a problem, right? Even though it might not be a problem for me and it might not be a problem for many of you, if your fans are saying this is taking too long, right? As long as it's not like the minority, if it's a good chunk of people, then I would say it is a problem, because your fans are telling you this is taking too long. So this is why I think it would be in their benefit tonight to really push the story forwards. I mean, the kind of like, oh, what do you think he meant when he looked in this direction? Or what do you think the lights mean in the background with the red and the blue? Or what do you think it meant when he scratched the side of his head? Or was he trying to pull a mask off? And, you know, all these little nuances that we find interesting, or some of us find interesting, a lot of people do not find interesting, right? Got to be honest here. You're either into it or you're not into it. And I think that what we've not had in the past couple of Bray segments are big talking points that really push the story forwards, right? And that's what they need to deliver soon. So to answer your question, I don't think it's too slow at the moment. I do think the past couple of segments have not been significant, but I do think there's been little things in there, little nuances that we can talk about and that we can enjoy. But I do understand why people have started to say that now. I do understand why people are saying, like, what is going on? Why is this taking so long? Like, he's been back since Extreme Rules, and we still don't even know the characters at this stage. Like, how long is this taking? But do you remember when he came back, I did say, like, this is going to take a long time. This is going to take a long time. Because we were talking about when will his first match be? And I was saying, like, this is going to take ages because he's coming back. He's coming back with new characters. We're going to have to explore those characters. There might be more. It could be a Wyatt 6. So we've got to bring these other people in as well. So not only do we need to bring them in, but then we need to learn about their characters. So you've got to do all of that work and then try and build a feud at the same time. Like, I think Survivor Series is going to be really difficult to build up to a match because how? I mean, at the moment, it's Bray and Uncle Howdy, but Uncle Howdy seems to have a problem with Bray. So unless you're going to do Uncle Howdy versus Bray, that's the only match that's kind of on the table right now. Yes, they've started to do something with Alexa, but I don't think we're getting Bray versus Alexa because why would we do that? Right? And who wants to see that? Like, I'm sure there's people out there that do. I personally don't. If I want to see Bray in action, I want to see it in a competitive match. Like, him against Alexa just does not interest me at all. So, like, maybe Nikki is a part of it. Maybe there's some things going on and we haven't quite put all the pieces together. But there's certainly a theory out there that Nikki is working with Bray. And maybe we're going to build towards Alexa versus Nikki at some point, just one-on-one, and Bray will be in Nikki's corner. So, you know, look, it's hard to know, like, how we're going to put all these pieces together in time because Survivor Series is not that far away. It's not that far away at all. It feels to me like we really do need to take some big steps forward here. Really need some big steps forward. So I'm hoping we get a big segment tonight. Certainly with there being no show this weekend, you know, we have to wait a week now, don't we, until we get to the next Smackdown, or the next Bray segment. They don't tend to give us anything on a Monday, so we've got to wait a week. So, yeah, I am hoping for something significant because it does feel to me like Survivor Series is getting pretty close. But I think they're aware of that. I think they clearly know when it's coming, and according to Triple H, he's got a long-term plan in regards to Bray. And so I think they know when the first match is. I think they know what week they want to be bringing people in and doing the reveals. I think they do have it planned out. But, yeah, I can totally understand why people are saying, oh, it's taking a bit too long. Because as I said, there's some people out there that just don't care about, like, what color the lights are, or they don't care what Bray's wearing, or they don't care what color his eyes are, or they don't care if he kind of seemingly pulls at a mask. Like, all those little things, those little kind of background things, they don't resonate with some people. Some people just want to know who's Uncle Howdy. Is he working with Bray or against Bray? Is it building towards a feud? Who's he facing? Is he going to be at Survivor Series? Like, the big questions. It's been a while since we've had any movement on those. So, yeah, for me, it's all right. But for others, I think it is a bit slow. Ryan Gambler, shout out to you, my friend. Said, Days, thanks for the stream. Thank you. Says, who do you think will be the next challenger for Roman's title? It's difficult because there's not really anyone that's presented themselves. I mean, what I will say is I'm stunned that we've managed to go 12 months, I think over 12 months, since the last draft. And I remember doing the video, and we sat here, and what we did is we had a column for Raw, we had a column for SmackDown, we had all the wrestlers in the middle, and we like moved them over to the brand they'd now been drafted to. And we put all the tag teams at the bottom. We put the women at the next level. We put the mid-card, low carders, jobbers, mid-carders next. And then at the top, we had the main eventers, right? And so we put everyone over to the roster they'd been drafted to. We split them into those kind of parameters. And no word of a lie, there were 2 main eventers on SmackDown after the draft. 2 main eventers. Now, some of them you could probably look at and make an argument. No, they're main event, right? But I feel pretty good there was only 2. One of the names, for example, was Jeff Hardy. I don't think you can class Jeff Hardy as a main eventer. Jeff Hardy was kind of, battling Karrion Kross, who had, been brought up, and so he was taking on Jeff Hardy. We weren't seeing Jeff Hardy in main events, right? It's not as if Jeff Hardy was constantly closing shows, main event in pay-per-views. Like, in my mind, after the draft, there was Roman and there was Drew, and that was it. That was it, right? Roman and Drew. You could definitely use Jeff in a main event. You could definitely use Kofi in a main event. I felt you could use Cesaro in a main event, right? So there was people that you could use, but they only had 2 bona fide main event talents, like people that had been in the main event quite a bit, Roman and Drew. And I can't believe that we've managed to go 12 months with that roster, and we've managed to find a way. Granted, Roman has gone up against Brock multiple times, right? And I don't think was drafted. So I don't remember. I think he remained a free agent, if my memory serves me correct. So he wasn't drafted to Raw or SmackDown. So they used Brock quite a lot. He was the opponent at WrestleMania. He was the opponent at SummerSlam. They used Seth at the Rumble, who was a Raw superstar. They've used Logan, who wasn't drafted and is a celebrity, for Crown Jewel. Obviously, we got him against Drew at Clash at the Castle. And then he's missed a few shows. So we have managed to find a way of getting through with that very strange roster. But the end result is, you look at that SmackDown roster and no one really jumps out. No one really jumps out. I don't know if they might have a look at Braun. I mean, Braun got a big win over a Moss. Braun is someone that you can absolutely put in a main event. The only thing I would say is the next pay-per-view is Survivor Series. There's maybe a chance that Roman doesn't defend and that we get the bloodline. So we might not see Roman actually need to defend the title at the next show, because he might be a part of the bloodline in one of the War Games matches, taking on a team of whoever. So we're going into December then, and then there's no pay-per-view show. So I think Roman might not defend until December on SmackDown, and then it could be someone like Braun. Braun could just be a stopgap. Roman versus Braun, and then, that gets us through to next year, basically. That'd be it for this year. So there might be one more title defense in 2022, and it might happen on SmackDown, because I don't know that it's going to happen at Survivor Series, because Roman's probably going to be part of the bloodline. So, whew. In depth. Elliot, shout out to you, buds. Elliot said, with WrestleMania looking like Cena returning and The Rock, it's looking good. Would you do Cody, Cena, Rock, Roman, Bray versus someone, Ronda versus Becky, Bianca versus Charlotte? No. I wouldn't do Cody versus Cena, because that's face versus face. I understand that it's, an interesting match, but I think Cena can have an interesting match against quite a few people. I would be really tempted to do Gunther versus Cena. I think Gunther is a monster heel, and you need to feed him some big, credible baby faces. Last week we saw him defeat Rey Mysterio, which is brilliant. But if you've got the option of feeding John Cena to him at WrestleMania, that would really help further legitimize someone like Gunther. I think Cody Cena would be fine, but you do run the risk of splitting the crowd. That's always the problem when you do face versus face, is there are going to be some lifelong Cena fans that are going to not want to support Cody, and they're going to want to support John Cena. And I just think Cody at WrestleMania should really have everyone behind him. Everyone should be rooting for Cody. So that's the problem with doing face versus face. So I feel like Cena versus Gunther is probably a better match to make. The only problem is I love Gunther, so I would actually be supporting Gunther, but you would obviously in the build, you would make Gunther a horrific heel, have Cena getting attacked and really build up sympathy for him. And that feels like a more natural face-heel dynamic. Rock against Roman, I would do. Ronda versus Becky, I would do. Bianca versus Charlotte. Bianca versus Charlotte. Is that the last one, is it? Is that the last one she needs to beat? Because she's beaten Bayley, she's beaten Becky, she's beaten Sasha. So, yes, that would make sense. So, yeah, actually, yes, Elliot, all of them apart from Cody Cena. I would do all the others. So, yeah. I saw that first one. I was like, no, I wouldn't do that. But looking at the rest of them, yeah, I think you're pretty much bang on. William Lebron, shout out to you, bud. Hope you're well. Said, Bray won't have a match until WrestleMania. You will have Bo, Alexa, Liv reveal by the end of Survivor Series. I think that would be a problem. I think not having Bray wrestle until WrestleMania would be a problem. I think if Bray is injured or has got a problem in that, because there was a picture doing the rounds when he came back at Extreme Rules, he had his leg in a brace, and it was only like a little wrap that you put around your knee. It wasn't a metal brace. It was like a knee support kind of a thing, and that fueled speculation that he wasn't 100% and he was injured. I've got to think, if you're not having him wrestle till WrestleMania, then is he injured? Because that's like 6 months. That's mental. So I think that if he's injured, I think he needs to, in a promo, tell us that he's injured. He needs to tell us he's not 100%, because you're going to have people are fed up now. I do get messages from people on Twitter saying, when is, I love Bray, but when is he actually going to have a match? And if people are saying that in November, how are we going to get through to March without annoying even more people? So I feel like that would be a bad move, man. I feel like that would be a bad move. I think if he can't because he's injured, tell us he's injured. And then at least people understand that he's got a little niggle. It's not stopping him from doing promos. It's not stopping him from being on the shows, but it is preventing him from actually wrestling matches. And I think this open and honest Wyndham character who, is not wearing a mask and it's just me, and he's been very open seemingly with the fans. I feel like that's the perfect character to reveal that he's got a little injury, if that is the case. If he's not injured, we can't wait till WrestleMania. That's too long. It's way too long. There's people now that are getting fed up, and I think to get all the way through to WrestleMania it'd be too long. So we need some movement on that. I think people are expecting him to wrestle at Survivor Series, and if he's not going to wrestle at Survivor Series, it's gonna frustrate more people, to be honest. It doesn't bother me so much. I would be bothered if it was WrestleMania, because that's long, man. But it wouldn't bother me if he didn't wrestle at Survivor Series, as long as we got a juicy reveal or we got something that was tasty. I think people were pretty down on Crown Jewel because what we got at Crown Jewel just felt like a SmackDown segment. Didn't feel like a premium live event. I mean, if you think about what we got at Extreme Rules, where Bray came back and the puppets in the crowd and the abandoned funhouse, and we got to see the masked character, on TV, and the imagery. And I mean, honestly, it just felt like there was so much. I had to watch that segment like 10 times to get my head around everything that was involved in it. If you compare like the Bray return to what we got at Crown Jewel, like Crown Jewel just felt like as I said, a SmackDown segment. I'm not down on it. I'm not down on it. As long as we get something Bray, I'm quite happy because it gives us something to talk about. I just know from the amount of people that have been in touch, been in comments, the YouTube comments, my Twitter notifications, people are getting a bit restless. I think that's the right word to use. They're not down on it. They're not hating on Bray. They're just getting a bit restless. And I understand people saying, well, that's on them. They need to be patient. But you have to remember, these are the fans. Like, this is the universe. This is the people that WWE are trying to entertain. So I think if you have got a large chunk of that audience saying, come on, and getting a bit restless, I think you do have to listen to that. You do have to listen to it. So William, shout out to you, but Wrestle with Andy said, I discovered that Brooks and Jensen from NXT is Bull Buchanan's son. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. That's interesting. God, all these kids are finding their ways into WWE system, aren't they? Jim said, I hope Bianca never beats Charlotte. I don't want her to finish her 4-horsewoman bucket list. I definitely agree. Well, I agree that it should take a long time. Like, I think if you can beat the 4 horsewomen, that is a massive achievement. I think that you shouldn't do it first time of trying. I mean, I believe she beat Becky first time and Bayley first time. Like, I don't think well, in all fairness, she lost to Becky when Becky came back in like 20-odd seconds. SummerSlam. But, I mean, that was such a weird little thing. I suppose technically it is a match. But their first proper match, she was victorious. I think she was victorious in her first match against Bayley. I think she was victorious. I think the WrestleMania match was her first match with Sasha. It's been relatively easy, and it shouldn't be. So I agree. If it's Bianca Charlotte should win. Eventually, I think Bianca should get a victory over Charlotte and complete the task. But it shouldn't be that easy, man. Shouldn't be that easy. It needs to be harder. LSW said, Gunther versus Cena is very easy to book. Cena returns for WrestleMania season and wants the one title he's never won. Gunther wins at WrestleMania and gets closer to becoming a main event star. Love that. Love that. Shout out to you, LS Dub. Luke Warrior said, love watching the videos. They're amazing. Big up Bray Wyatt. Luke, shout out to you, my friend. Yeah, big thank you. Those videos are only possible because of you lot sending in your thoughts and theories. And I always try to give credit to the first kind of ones that I see. So, for example, like I do get sent a lot of the same theories and same thoughts. But the problem is that obviously it's really depending on what the first one I saw was. So that's why, sometimes people get in touch saying, I said the exact same thing. And it's like, oh, I'm really sorry. This is the first one I came to. And that's where I saw it. And so, that's why that person gets the credit. To actually go through every comment and find everyone that said the same thing, I'm sure you can understand would be just so time consuming that the videos, I just don't even know if they would ever get out. So that's why it's done that way. But yeah, I love reading people's comments and thoughts and giving credit where it's due. So keep sending your stuff through. It doesn't bother me if it's been said before because sometimes things haven't. And so it's just really interesting. So yeah, good. Obviously looking forward to seeing what Bray does tonight. I do want to say, though, I've got to tell you, I am currently banned. Well, not banned. Suspended on Twitter. So this is confession time, guys. Time for me to confess my sins, right? So I am currently suspended for 12 hours on Twitter because of a comment I made. So if you are hoping to see these theory videos. They will be on the YouTube channel. I just can't send any links for the next 12 hours onto Twitter because I am a little rascal. I'm a little rascal, and Twitter didn't appreciate it. And I would just like to take this opportunity to say that I don't give a flip. Twitter is broken. It's a disgrace. I'm being completely abused. I tried to appeal it, but the problem is if you appeal it, then and I will tell you what I said, right? If you appeal it, then it can take longer. So I wouldn't have my account for tomorrow, and I really need it for this weekend because it's UFC and it's boxing and all of that kind of stuff. But I found out earlier today that one of my tweets had upset the algorithm. I don't think it certainly didn't upset a person, but it upset an algorithm. And so, I'm suspended at the moment. I will get to why in a second. But I do want to just emphasize, I am not sorry in any factor whatsoever. Not a single fiber of my body is sorry for what I tweeted. I would absolutely tweet it again, and it will tell you what I said, right? But let me read these because these super chats are building up. Nino said, Days, Hugh fan. Big fan of Hugh Grant. Shout out to you, Nino. 1983 says, I don't want to see The Fiend back. Hugh Bray fan. I don't know Hugh Bray. I think that must be Hugh Grant's brother. Want to see something new with the new mask from Extreme Rules. Don't want The Fiend back. Yeah, that's fine. I feel like The Fiend will show again because I think that character was so popular that there's money on the table, basically. You in a way can't not have him back because people just love him and they love the masks and all that kind of stuff. I agree. I really enjoyed The Fiend at first, but it's well documented that I felt The Fiend lost his way. And, I mean, Bray just sort of, I don't know, at that whole period where he gets burnt and then he goes missing for like a long time. I mean, we still don't know quite what was happening there. There's obviously big reports about mental health and depression. And, you know, there was clearly stuff going on with Bray at that time. And I just think that time is just a bad time because the burning alive thing, him then being absent for months and months and months. I mean, you got to remember that when The Fiend was burnt alive, that was the end of like 2020. And he doesn't really show until I think we see him once or twice in the build to WrestleMania. And then we see him at WrestleMania. And then he loses at WrestleMania. The dude gets burnt alive and then magically heals and then loses the match. I mean, that whole period did damage to the Fiend character in my eyes, to the point where, you know, look, the next night on Raw, he's like, it's time for a reset. It's time for new friends. It's time for a brand new start. It really felt like Bray just wanted to draw a line under everything that happened because I think a lot of that is Vince. I think there's some depression in there. I think there's maybe, like, you know, butting of heads creatively. I don't think a lot of what we saw was Bray's vision. And so I think there was a lot going on. I think if ever he spills the beans around what was happening at that time, it'd be fascinating, absolutely fascinating, because I think there was a lot going on behind the scenes at that time. Even though you weren't seeing much of him, I think there was a lot going on. So, and then obviously, as we know, he ends up getting released shortly after that. So, just weird, really strange. I mean, 2021 was just a horrible year for him. Horrible. Not only did he get released, but we didn't see much of him at the start of the year. Loses at WrestleMania in a match that I don't think anyone expected him to lose. And it was just horrible. So I agree. I'm all for a new character. I'm all for exploring something new. But I think eventually you do need to bring The Fiend back in, just because The Fiend is so popular. Just because there's people out there that have got, you know, good memories of The Fiend, want to see The Fiend back. They enjoyed The Fiend's look. People like dressing up as The Fiend. You know, very popular Halloween costume. And I think people Just really enjoyed that character, that persona. So, but I agree with you. I'm quite happy to explore other things at this time. Quite happy. Right, next up we have got Eric. Shout out to you, buds. Appreciate the kind words. Eric said, Days scored Supreme Cody. No way can Mattel Elite match it. So many extra parts. Uncle Howdy head looks like an aged Howdy Doody puppet. Petrol and coffee on me. You deserve it. You deserve it. Eric, shout out to you, bud. Really appreciate that. I haven't seen it in person, the Supreme Cody figure. I've seen, obviously, images, and I've seen what comes with it, and it does look amazing. So, yeah, they've set a high bar, in all fairness. I think that Jazzwares have done a great job with the AEW license. I think they've done a really great job. I did not have high hopes for them because I think Jazzwares in the past, I mean, it was a long time ago, but in the past, I think some of their figures were really off. And I must admit, some of these AEW ones have been a little wide of the mark, but I would say they've got way more right than wrong. And that is just, that's one of their top figures, that Supreme Cody. So pleased you are enjoying it. Uncle Howdy, like Howdy Doody. It has been said before, but I must admit, it's not a theory that I've gone really further into. So if anyone's watching and you want to Google Howdy Doody and just have a little look at that, then I have had that mentioned before that people think that this has got influence at the very least from Howdy Doody. So Eric, shout out to you, buds. Hope you've had a good day. Next we've got Brandon English. Said Days top 3 best signings that AEW got from WWE. You'd have to go with Bryan Danielson. I feel like he has been very legitimate for them. I don't know what he's done like from a ratings point of view. Undeniably one of their biggest stars, and I don't know that they've used him all that well. I think the jury is still out on Blackpool Combat Club, but I think that his matches have been undeniably fantastic. He is American Dragon. People know who he is. He's credible. One of the best in-ring performers of his generation. How can you not say Bryan Danielson? I've got to go Jon Moxley as well, just because could you imagine AEW without Jon Moxley? Like, as much as I'm not really a fan of Jon Moxley, and I think that he does like hardcore matches and too much blood, and he's got an attitude, and you could say that his attitude in a way kind of encompasses AEW. So if you wanted AEW in a wrestler form, I feel like Moxley would be that person, like, attitude, cool, in with the fans, all about the fans. If you think Moxley comes through the fans and interacts with the fans, he doesn't come out the entranceway. He's in there with the fans. And I think that's very AEW. AEW have always been, very much about the fans, listening to the fans, little close-knit community. If you think about when they started, they did that AEW heels so that women and women only had a safe place to talk wrestling and not get hit on by guys and share their thoughts and not be patronized or whatever. Or do you know what I mean? Like, it was a safe space for women. And so, that's something WWE have never thought to do. I don't know how successful it was, but it does show that they were thinking about things that the fans might appreciate and find useful. Shame they charged about, was it $50 a year for it? But whatever. I feel like Moxley has got to be in that conversation. But again, not someone I'm crazy about. Not someone that really does it for me. If I had to choose between Roman Reigns or Jon Moxley, I know which way my vote would be going. But I think that he's been a big signing for them. I think it wasn't even revealed on like Double or Nothing, their first show. So not only has he been a multiple-time champion, constantly involved in the main event scene, he was also one of their biggest early surprises and really gave the company a boost in the arm. So I'd have to go with that. And the other one, I mean, I don't know if Jericho counts. Probably not, because he wasn't in WWE when AEW started. He'd actually left and he had gone off to do New Japan. And so he did some New Japan stuff as the Painmaker. I don't know if he had heard rumblings, maybe, that this was coming, and that's why he left. But I don't know. I don't think he counts, to be honest, because I think he'd already left WWE, so can't go with that one. But Bryan Danielson, Jon Moxley, I feel like I should say a woman, but I can't say a woman because I don't think there's any woman outside of Britt Baker or maybe Thunder Rosa. I mean, you could say Serena Deeb, but I don't think her impact has been that great. So Britt Baker, Thunder Rosa, I mean, that's the women's division, really. And you can't say Saraya because she hasn't really made much of an impact at the moment. Jury is still out. Ratings have not moved. So you can't really say Saraya. Would you say Billy Gunn? Or FTR? FTR would be a great shout, wouldn't it? FTR. I was thinking Billy Gunn because I think he did come from WWE. And if you think about how successful the Acclaimed have been and Daddy Ass and all that kind of stuff, seems a bit weird to say it, but I feel like he has been huge. Certainly, like for the Acclaimed. I can't imagine the Acclaimed without Daddy Ass. Maybe they would still do the scissoring though without him. FTR as well. FTR is such a fantastic tag team, but they just don't seem to get used at the top of the card, do they? I've got to go. I'll go FTR anyway. I think they're giants in waiting. I think that they will win the tag titles, and there's no reason why they need to lose them for like 2 years. So I'll say FTR, one of the most, if not the best tag teams in the world right now. I think they've got the AAA titles, the New Japan titles, the Ring of Honor titles, and they're sure to get the AEW tag titles as well. I mean, I think WWE would love to get them back now that Vince isn't in charge. I think they might have tried, actually. But yeah, I think WWE would love to get them. So I'll go with those three, buds. So, Brandon, shout out to you. William, let's try and get to William. William said, don't worry. People will wait years for cicadas. Bray will make us wait as well. Bo, Alexa, and Liv will have major matches instead of Bray. William, shout out to you. I still would worry that it'd be too long because I understand other people having matches, but I just think people want to see Bray. I mean, Bray's been away for so long, like making people wait, and I don't think everyone's into it to the extent that some of us are. So, yeah, Bray fans will wait, but those kind of more casual fans, those people that, you know, will watch Bray, but they enjoy Roman just as much, they enjoy Seth just as much, they enjoy Bianca just as much. Like, to a lot of people, Bray is just another wrestler. Yeah, he's doing interesting stuff, but they enjoy him as much as they enjoy Roman. They don't enjoy him any more than they enjoy Roman. They don't enjoy him any more than they enjoy Bianca. They don't enjoy him any more than they enjoy Charlotte or Becky or, you know, Usos or Sammy, or he's just another person. So for them people, I would worry that they would start getting like restless. Just because I'm seeing it already. Just because there's already people getting in touch saying, when's he going to have a match? So we'll have to wait and see. I mean, you're right. They could go that way. They could go in the way where they bring in people and have those people have matches. So that it's kind of like the Wyatt Six are having matches. It's just not Bray that's having a match. I'd be interested to see if they did that, how people would react. It'd be interesting to see how people would react to that. King Chris said, Days, I am a Who fan. Oh, I love the Who as well. I love Who's Next. I love Baba O'Reilly. I love My Generation's a classic. A lot of their tracks are obviously played at the start of CSIs, and I think that's how most people will know of the Who, but just one of the greatest bands of all time. Massive in the mod scene in the 1960s. And don't even get me started on Quadrophenia. I mean, Quadrophenia, what a film. What an album. Brilliant. If you want to know what it was like in the 60s with the mods and the rockers, these two kind of rival cultures and how they used to clash in the UK. Like, you've got the sharp dress mods, you've got the rockers who were obviously in their leathers, and they used to go down to Brighton and there'd be these mass brawls in like the 1960s. If you want to get a glimpse, a flavor of what that was like, then Quadrophenia is the film that you want to watch. And the soundtrack is just divine. So, yeah, I am also, King Chris, a big Who fan. I do want to see The Fiend again. Streams are always awesome. Keep them up. King Chris, appreciate the kind words, dude. As I said, I think there's lots of people that want to see The Fiend again. One of the best... one of my favorite times in wrestling was when we first saw The Fiend. I mean, honestly, I'd put that up there with anything. I absolutely loved it. I've told that story many times. But seeing that character get revealed and the excitement of like, oh my God, we have got some special here. This guy, we've not seen anything like this. And then like when he finally arrives and we were seeing the attacks on the legends and he attacked Finn Balor and that built towards SummerSlam and the excitement of his entrance. And it's amazing, wasn't it? It was amazing. So, yeah, I mean, without Vince around now and with Bray just able to completely put his own vision out there, high hopes for if and when we see The Fiend again, because I'm confident we will. So, King Chris, shout out to you, dudes. Thoughts on Braun Strowman floppy flippers, says Aaron. Braun Strowman floppy flippers? I don't know what they are. Is he taken to wearing flip-floppers? I can't say that I have seen this doing the rounds, so you'll have to send me an image. Brenton said, shout out to you. We debated for a while about Theory's booking. Yep. How do you feel now? Before he was a bum with a briefcase. Now he's just a bum. One of the most talented guys in WWE, but not Triple H's boy. I mean, my feelings haven't changed with how he should be booked. Like, everything I said, I completely stand by in regards to how would I book Theory. And the way I would book Theory is I would give him L after L after L after L after L. He'd be taking so many L's, he wouldn't even know any other letter existed in the alphabet. In his mind, it would just be 20-odd L's in the alphabet, right? Because he'd be seeing that many. Because next year, he cashes in and becomes champion. World champion. Is he going to be seen as deserving in people's eyes? No. Does that matter? No, because it's the Money in the Bank briefcase. It's not fair. It's not meant to be fair. The whole thing is that you cash in at the most opportune moments and then you become champion, and he would be a sniveling, weaselly champion that's constantly trying to do whatever it takes to keep hold of that belt. If he's got to run out of the ring and get counted out and lose the match but keep the title, then he will do that match after match. And that is a problem that the faces would have to try and work out. How do they counter that? How do they fix that issue? And of course, eventually he'll be put in like a cage match, but then he'll find another way. Like maybe, someone will come down and climb in the cage and attack the person for him. Maybe he's then got a couple of J&J security and blah, 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 blah. Bottom line is, that's how I would book him for his first title reign at this age. That's how I would have booked him. So it doesn't change my mind about how he was booked and that was the wrong thing to do, because I don't think it was. I think it's how I would have booked him as well. But what it does do now is it makes me look at it and go, well, clearly he was not taking those L's for the reason that I would have given him those L's. And so I think, the conclusion you can only come to at the moment is that he's clearly not on Triple H's radar right now. I really don't think Triple H doesn't see it in Theory. I think he definitely looks at Theory and sees the talent. How can you not? How can you not? How can you not look at him and see how confident he is on the microphone? How can you not look at him and see how well he does in ring? His matches are hardly stinkers. His matches are really strong. His matches are good. Depending on the opponent, of course. He's still not at the point where he can be a ring general. And his matches do vary depending on who he is up against. But he is young, very young, and continuing to improve. And he is someone definitely that you see being around the top end of the card. You see a young Randy Orton in Austin Theory. I see a young Randy Orton in Austin Theory. You know, if you remember when Orton first arrived and he wasn't the legend killer, he was, you know, in like blue tight shorts and just didn't really have kind of direction at that stage. He ended up getting injured and then came back and was in Evolution. And that's when Randy really started to get somewhere. I feel like we're pre-Evolution with Theory. Theory still hasn't quite found what's going to make him him. But the talent is there. And so if we can see it, Triple H can see it, I can only think that it's just now's not the right time. I can only think that Triple H is looking at Kevin Owens, looking at Sami Zayn, looking at Nakamura, looking at AJ Styles, looking at Finn Balor, looking at Seth Rollins, looking at Gable Steveson, who should be around next year, looking at Cody coming back, looking at Roman, of course, who you can never ignore, looking at Brock, who you can never ignore, like looking at all of these people that he maybe doesn't feel have been given the opportunity that they should have had over the recent years. And he wants to do something about that. And I just think because Theory is young and still improving, maybe he doesn't fit into that conversation at this stage. So I feel like it's probably more that rather than Triple H just doesn't see the talent. I think it's probably more it's just not the right time. But I didn't predict that. No, I didn't think it would go that way. But, you know, people are right when they say that it was Vince that put the Money in the Bank on Theory. And so if it is a case that Triple H thinks it's too soon, I think that's your answer. I think that's why we are where we are. So that's my thoughts on it. Ryan said, "What did you do to upset the Twitter gods?" Yeah, I was trying to get to that. I appreciate it, Ryan. What did I do to upset the Twitter gods? So, Retribution. I don't know if he's around, but Retribution sent me 3 tweets, and it was basically like, oh, I can't believe that Mane is out of the World Cup, and heartbreaking that he's not going to be able to play the World Cup for, I think, Senegal he plays for. And then he was like heartbreaking about Reece James like being out for England, heartbreaking for, who else is it? Kante for France, blah, 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 blah. Loads of like, basically he sent me a list of all of the injured players for the World Cup. And I responded only to him, no one else. This was not a public, well, I suppose in a way it is public, but it was a reply, right? I didn't post it on my feed. I only replied. I replied, I don't care about injuries. I hope all the players get injured because I want England to have the best chance possible. Laughing face emoji, right? That was what I said, was that I hope more people get injured so England have got a better chance at the World Cup. That was it. That was it. Apparently that breaks some kind of guideline, or I have no idea. I mean, it was a joke, first of all. There was a laughing face emoji that was on it. Clearly, I don't wish all of the World Cup players to get injured apart from the English ones. So, yeah, I mean, I suppose in a way I can understand why the algorithm would look at that and go, he wants everyone to get injured. Like, I suppose I can see, like, why it happens. But, I mean, that's mental to me. That's crazy. That's crazy. And also, fun fact, I actually don't care if everyone gets injured because that will give England a better chance of winning the World Cup. If Messi is missing for Argentina, Argentina are a weaker team. If Ronaldo is missing for Portugal. Portugal are a weaker team, right? And so England then have a better chance of winning the World Cup. But I mean, I'm not starting a rally. I'm not trying to get people to go out there and beat up players. I don't know, it's crazy, man. Crazy. So, yeah, I just want it known. I do not apologize for that comment whatsoever, right? It's a flipping joke. And it seems like I've never had that happen before. I've always, never thought twice about putting little jokes like that on Twitter, right? Just a little joke. I clearly don't want everyone to get injured at the World Cup. So, but the algorithm obviously doesn't know that. So, listen, I've been punished, guys. I've been punished. I've learnt the error of my ways. I'm going to strive to be a better man. That's all I can say. I'm going to strive to be a better man. And hopefully I can learn from this, grow as a person. And I must admit, though, what I don't understand is when Elon Musk took over, I thought he was all go freedom of speech. Wasn't he? Wasn't that his message? I thought his whole message was go freedom of speech. Now you can't even joke. Now you can't even say a joke without having your account taken away for 12 hours. So it's not the biggest punishment in the world, but then it's not a flipping crime. So that was frustrating because it means, and the whole reason I mentioned it is because I can't send a tweet out letting people know we're live right now. I can't send out any videos to any theories or breaking news or anything that happens on SmackDown tonight. It's took that away from me for 12 hours. Oh, because of that comment? Sucks. I mean, I must admit, I do think that Twitter is broken at the moment. I don't know if you've seen, there's real carnage in regards to, the blue tick thing. I keep getting people sending me news from, say, Sean Ross Sappman. He's got the blue tick next to it. And the news is nonsense. But people think it's real because they think that's really Sean Ross Sapp. It's a real problem now. This blue tick, if you subscribe to Twitter Blue, you get a blue tick. It's a problem. Yeah, I've been reading a little bit about how people are saying that Twitter is going to literally break because apparently there's been a few things happening already that show the system is under strain because of the amount of people that were let go on Twitter. And so it seems like Twitter's not in a great place. It seems like, all them 11,000 people that he let go, it seems like some of them actually did something, And so as a result, it's starting to creak a little bit and struggle a little bit. Talking of struggling, are the Usos going to struggle? It's Usos against New Day. Going to open up the show. This is what we're starting with. I agree with that. England always do well, said Joseph. Oh, I don't know, man. I think we're going to need players to get injured if we're going to do well this time. I think we've got a good chance, but I don't fancy us when we go up against France. France have got a fantastic team. Brazil, Argentina. It's going to be really tough, really tough. But we are doing World Cup watch-alongs. We are going to be doing that. And so they will be starting November 20th. That's good. It's good that it's at the bottom. It reminds me. Mane is going to the World Cup. Is he? Oh, my God. Well, that sucks. I wish he was injured. To your earlier point, not everyone sees talent in everyone. Age, different generations. Oli didn't think Taker would draw money. Vince didn't understand Vader McFoley. It just depends. Yeah, but Oli saw Mean Mark, didn't he? He didn't see The Undertaker. So he didn't say that about The Undertaker. He said it about Mean Mark. And, yeah, I mean, look, granted, they could have took Mean Mark and given him a new gimmick. But Undertaker clearly was a draw. But would Mean Mark have drawn in WWE if they'd have brought in Mean Mark? So I don't know if Oli was wrong, to be honest. If Mean Mark Calloway Would he have drawn a dime? Would Undertaker have been as effective if he was an Undertaker? I mean, it is true. People see different things in different people, but I can't believe that Triple H doesn't see the talent in Austin Theory. That would just be alien to me. Why open with a championship match? Don't know. Get a bit of excitement. It's had a big build, hasn't it? So, and the first match tends to get quite a bit of time. So, I agree with you on that. But England always do major tournaments. We were close to winning the Euros. We should have won. Now there is a chance of history. Yeah, I love the enthusiasm. I'm here for it. I think we've got a good squad. I think we've got a decent chance. I just worry that in order to win the World Cup, we are going to have to beat teams like France, like Brazil. I mean, you can't avoid them. Not unless they get knocked out in some kind of shock eliminations. You're not going to avoid them. And, man, Nations League was not great for England, was it? It was not great at all. So just keeping everything crossed that there's going to be tons of injuries this weekend. I just want Messi out. I want Ronaldo out. I want Mbappe out. I want Benzema out. I just want them all out, right? Basically, I want England to go to the World Cup and take on all the other nations under 12s. That's what I'm hoping for. And even then, I'd still be worried about playing Brazil. Kofi up top with a crossbody. Tamori not being selected is outrageous. I don't know, to be honest, because he's had a couple of not great performances in the Champions League. I think he's been doing all right in Serie A, but he was at fault for a couple of goals in the Champions League this year. And I think if you're really trying to get into the team, I think you need to be perfect. And I reckon Southgate's seen some of those mistakes and gone, well, do you know what? Stones is a no-brainer. Maguire's obviously the controversial pick. And that's one that England fans will debate till the cows come home. So I wouldn't, if Tamori had gone instead of Maguire, I wouldn't have argued. But I don't know that I'm appalled at it. It's not one that I'm like disgusted by. I sort of think like Tamori has not been perfect this season. So do you just stick with Maguire, who has also been far from perfect, but has wore the England shirt a lot of times, been to tournaments, knows what it's about, knows what it takes, already has a relationship with Stones. I don't know. Torn. It would have been good, actually, if Maguire had been injured. If Maguire was injured and he just wasn't an option, then it would have been a no-brainer, wouldn't it? Kofi jumps off the top, lands on two Usos. Hate that spot. And there we go. We go to commercial break. They showed Roman and Solo backstage, but no Sammy. Is he not there tonight? He should be there tonight because we believe he's going to be in the World Cup tournament thing. The SmackDown World Cup. So I think he's going to be there. But I haven't heard them announce anything about that. So maybe that doesn't start this week. Perhaps it starts next week or something. Mark said, Usos are not going to lose because they started the show. Joshua said, if the New Day doesn't win the titles, do you think Xavier will turn on Kofi? Don't know, actually. That's a good question because I hadn't thought about that. But where are the New Day going? New Day, probably not. Just because Triple H seems to want to build the tag division. So I don't think he's going to want to split up the New Day. So I'll lean towards unlikely, but it'd be quite the moment, wouldn't it? It'd be quite the talking point. I'd certainly welcome it, but I don't think it's going to go that way. The most useless WWE titles, besides the now trash 24, is the women's tag belts. Those belts hold no prestige at all. Brandon said, did you get my other super chat? I don't know if I did, to be honest. Let me have a look. Let me look. I don't think I did, and let me look. Brandon, what did it say? But because it's not there. I'm sure it was there, but it's not there now. Wes said, I stand with Days. Thank you, guys. Thank you. It's injustice. It is absolutely injustice. What do you remember of England's 2010 team? I remember us losing to Germany and the goal that never stood, that should have stood. I think that was 2010, wasn't it? Lampard's, where we scored against Germany and would have got us back in the game. But even though it crossed the line, it was never given. And Germany ended up beating us and we went out. That's what I remember. I remember it being the golden generation. So the team was awesome. And actually, you know, we should have done a lot better. We should really, it's hard to say, but we probably should have won something with the team we had at that time. I remember USA being beat by Ghana, but I loved that USA team with Donovan and Dempsey. Altidore tied England on an own goal when they were down. Yeah. USA had some good players there. Clint Dempsey. What a player, man. I remember him used to play for Fulham, and he was so good. I want to say that I had him in like really early fantasy Premier League games. I feel like that's true. He used to be such a wonderful scoring midfielder that he was really someone that was on my radar. And to be honest, Fulham and Fulham players are never on my radar because I don't support Fulham. I have no interest in Fulham. And so I've got a feeling that he was in a fantasy team that I had. I can't remember if Fantasy Premier League was on at that time, though. Fantasy Premier League's huge. There's like 10 million players now. But I don't know if it was around back then. I definitely feel like I had him in a team. Perhaps I was playing in the newspaper or something instead. I don't know. Newspaper fantasy teams have been around for donkey's years, so perhaps it was that. But yeah, a lot of respect for Dempsey. I would actually say that Dempsey, probably my favorite US player ever. Although I do love Casey Keller, the keeper. He was awesome. He was cool. He used to play for Leicester. He was awesome. So he'd be my number 2, even though he was a number 1. We are back from commercial break. William said, did you know that Bray's symbol is the cicada? I did, yes. I did. We spoke about it and how like it potentially relates to the mystery that was on the internet. Cicada, what was it called? Cicada 1395 or whatever it is. And that was this very in-depth code that challenge a puzzle that people were told to have to try and work out. And I feel like it's probably got a reference to that. Where is Brandon? Brandon sent through a super chat, but I missed it. Kofi is getting beaten up at the moment. Brandon, where are you? You probably put something in the chat and I've not seen it. It said top 3 guys from WWE you think have had a better push in AEW. Top 3 guys that have had a better push in AEW. John Moxley is constantly around. We want Sammy chants. We want Sammy. Oh, dealing with a personal issue. Sammy dealing with a personal issue, according to Michael Cole. Oh, I hope he's all right. So, Sammy dealing with a personal issue. Well, if he is, that'll warm his heart hearing the fans say, we want Sammy. So, that will have warmed the cockles. Top 3 WWE stars in AEW that have been booked better or pushed better. I tell you one of the names that comes to mind, Sean Spears. Because if you think about Sean Spears, he did nothing on the main roster in WWE, but Sammy Uso chance. But when he was in the Pinnacle, was it the Pinnacle? And he was like with Wardlow, wasn't he involved in like a stadium stampede match? He was in like one of the top factions. He was involved in a stadium stampede match. We haven't done much with him since, to be honest. But I still feel like he's probably done more in AEW than he did on WWE's main roster. And maybe you could say the same for FTR as well. Maybe. Maybe you could say the same for Athena and the Moon. I don't think she did a great deal on the main roster. She's done a fair bit in AEW. I don't think Miro's been better. I don't think Alistair Black. Malachi Black's probably done more on the main roster than he did in WWE, even though it's not been great. Andrade, I don't think so. Toni Storm, she's a interim women's champ right now. Yeah, Toni Storm has done more than she did on the main roster. So I'd go Toni Storm, who did well in NXT UK and everything, but I'm not going to count that. I'm just going to compare main rosters. So Toni Storm. Jon Moxley's tough in it because, I mean, he was in the Shields. And they were cool. I don't know that I can say that he's been better than... He hasn't done nothing better than the Shields. But he is constantly in the main event. Tricky, innit? Tricky. Toni Storm. FTR. Because they were not used well on the main roster at all. And I'll probably just go Jon Moxley because, I mean, he's constantly around the main event. Champion. Big matches, and it's been that way for years. Kofi, planted, going for the cover. 1, 2, shoulder up. Last time I was really into the the Usos is when Jay first came back. Before then, the penitentiary thing didn't do it for me, and I didn't care about them till Sammy. Sammy. The most I remember is 1996 when Gareth Southgate missed a penalty. Can you remember that yet? That's the biggest tournament that I had seen to that point. Because before that, in 94, because there's a tournament every 2 years. So 90 is the first tournament I remember, but I don't remember much of it. 1990, that was... where was that? Italia 90, it was in Italy. It was the World Cup. England got to the semi-final and went out to Germany. So I remember a bit of that, right? So I remember a bit of 1990. I don't think we went to 92. Actually, do you know what? I'm ashamed to admit I don't know what happened at the 92 Euros. I think Denmark won, but I don't know what England did. If I was to guess, I would say they went out in the group stages. I mean, they did nothing to the point of I don't even know if they were there. So I've got no memory of 92. No memory of 92 whatsoever. 94, England were not there. That was USA 94. And I do remember watching that World Cup and the final in particular, but not having a great interest because England weren't there. So, you know, it was a passing glance. It was on TV all the time, but it was only a passing glance. Shame because USA, I mean, you put on a hell of a show, man. That World Cup's one of the biggest, most spectacular World Cups I've ever seen. Stadiums were just, I mean, you lot have got crazy stadiums over there, monstrous stadiums that the rest of the world just struggles to compete with. And I just remember these massive stadiums outside, so many people, more people than I'd ever seen for anything. So that's my memory of 94. Really great World Cup that was. 96 is the big one, though. That was Euro 96 in England. England again getting to a semi-final. Going out to Germany again. It's always the Germans. And it's always on penalties. But, it was... that was massive. Massive. I remember all of the England games in that. And that's the first tournament I can properly remember. And then France 98 and was it Germany in 2000 and Korea 2002? And they do start to blur a little bit, but 96 really sticks in the mind. How are you tonight? I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm excited. We're 20 minutes into the show. We've only had Usos New Day. It's been a fun match. We've had We Want Sammy chants and Sammy Uso, but Michael Cole has told us that Sammy is dealing with personal issues. Right, we've got Kofi down, trying to get over to make the tag. Is Bray on tonight? They've not mentioned it, but they've got to, haven't they? They've got to. I think Solo should win the IC and the US title so the Bloodline can have all the gold, said Joanna. Against the ropes goes Xavier, duck underneath. In between the legs. Down goes Jimmy. Xavier back in the corner, charging over, collides into Jimmy. Jay comes over, grabs Xavier. Xavier lands on his feet. Duck underneath, clothesline to Jimmy. Jay comes over. Jay goes into Jimmy. Xavier round the houses, lands on his feet. Side Russian leg sweep. Crowd applauding, crowd are into it. Jimmy on his shoulders, double knees. Double knees by Xavier. 2. Kick out by the Usos. Kick out by the Usos. This is for the undisputed tag team championships. So Jimmy is down. Xavier. Headbutt by Xavier. Tag. In comes Kofi. Kofi in the ring against the ropes. Kick. Down goes Jimmy. He pops back up. Clothesline. Splash. Jimmy is down. It's very much New Day right now. Leg drop from the top. That was sick. That was sick. 1, 2. Shoulder up. Love that leg drop from the top. Brenton said, Landon Donovan and the keeper Tim Howard were my favorites. Josie Altador was great too. The US team had some fighters. Didn't realize that USA and England are in the same group. Yep. Yep. They will play each other. They will face each other. And I'm quietly optimistic, of course, that England should be able to get the 3 points. But I think it would be great if USA were the other team to go through. I don't mind Wales going through as well, actually. Be nice for Wales for them to go through as well. Obviously, I want England to go through. But I'm torn. I'm torn between Wales and USA. Wales, literally down the road. And we have people in our community that are from Wales. But then, of course, we have a lot of people from USA in our community as well. So I'm a bit split. I'm a bit split on that. I think I'm just going to watch it play out. See who wins. Who wants it more? Is it going to be Wales or... That's going to be a hell of a game, isn't it? Wales against USA could decide who goes through. Oh, SOS. And it's only a 2 count. Really fun match, this. Great match. Debated going to SmackDown. This would have been a great match to see live, said Dad Stuff. Sammy Uso, says Joanna. Yeah, there's been chants for Sammy. Sammy Uso chant and We Want Sammy chant, but Michael Cole saying that he's not here due to personal reasons. And, you know, I don't think we saw him last week either, and he certainly wasn't at Crown Jewel. This is awesome chant now by the crowds. Nice kick there by Jimmy. No, Jay. I thought it was Jimmy. Jay is in there. He dumps Kofi to the outside. Xavier with a vicious head. I think Xavier's been awesome in this match. Vicious headbutt. Loved the leg drop from the top. Jimmy is back. Super kick there by Jay. Tag. In comes Jimmy. Double super kick. Xavier goes down. Double super kick to Kofi. Kofi goes down. Another double super kick. Xavier is down. Is this the beginning of the end? Feels like it could be. We've got Usos going in each corner. Xavier is down. Double splash by the Usos. 1, 2. Kick out by Xavier. Wow. Big moment, man. Big moment. Kick out by Xavier. These two always bring it, don't they? People on their feet in the crowds. Really felt like the end. Really felt like the end. This was supposed to be the moment. It was all put to bed, says Wade Barrett. You can see Michael Cole on his feet shouting as he's doing the commentary. Brilliant. Brilliant. These teams tonight are operating on a different level. What's it going to take, man? What's it going to take? Do you like the Brutes? They've grown on me. I still think Butch needs to change his name to Pete Dunne. But I think they've been involved in some fantastic matches, and that always builds credibility. You know, you can be called pretty much anything, but if you're going to have banger after banger, then, you know, you're going to win the fans over, aren't you? Look at Logan. You know, Logan's had a couple of bangers this year, and all of a sudden is the buzz of the internet wrestling community. Xavier, stomp. Look at that. Jumps off the middle turnbuckle to the outside. Sort of a coup de grace. Jimmy is in trouble. DDT, Xavier on his feet. Kofi back in the corner. Kofi climbing up. Got midnight hour. Is that going to be it? 1, 2. And makes the save. Jimmy makes the save. Wow, midnight hour. And he was done, man. He was done. Jay was done. Jimmy had to jump in and make the save. So, Kofi, look at that. Midnight hour. How long we got? Half an hour into the show already. And it's been a banger of a match. So, Jimmy save. After Jay hit with the midnight hour. Just getting a lovely shot of the crowds. Looks fairly full, actually. But they're not really showing the camera side. They're kind of showing the other side, the side you see on TV. Because the other camera side might be pretty empty. Xavier is on his feet. Kofi on his feet. We've got, after half an hour, we've got both of these teams squaring off with each other. Woods over the top, lands to the outside. Super kick by and again. Xavier goes into the timekeeper's area. Big super kick goes over the barricades. Kofi doing well, but gets caught. Xavier's been dealt with. Kofi's on his own. Xavier's still down. He's a long way away. He's still in the timekeeper's area. Kofi's trying to fight off both of the Usos, and he's succeeding. Both of the Usos go down. They need to be quick because Xavier is going to be coming back. Oh, gets caught. Gets caught with like an RKO. 1, 2, 3, and the Usos win. Usos win. And still. Wow. So off the top, at the top, it was like an RKO. Smile on the face of Roman. Solo looks very serious backstage. Down since day one, we the ones. Very, very good match. Very good match. There's a woman in the crowd. Woman in the crowd like, We the ones, we the ones. Must be a big Usos fan. We the ones, we the ones. Big night for the bloodline. Usos retain. Smile on the face of Roman. Got the smirk on the face of Paul Heyman. Is he pointing at? Brandon said, what did you think of Adam Cole's debut in AEW? I thought the actual debut was pretty good because it was at the same time as Bryan Danielson. I didn't expect them to do both. So I can't remember which one was the surprise. I think Danielson was the surprise, actually. Well, they were both surprises. But I think they brought out Adam Cole first, and then they brought out Danielson. So, World Cup up next. There's all the participants. Oh, Ali. Ali is one of the participants. So his actual debut, I thought, was done well. Pretty much everything after that has been awful. I mean, he did win the Owen tournament, so that was a nice moment. Him and Britt both winning. Pretty much everything else has been awful. One monstrous cage. 2 weeks tomorrow. Survivor Series. 2 weeks tomorrow. Down since day one-ish. Who is Roman fighting tonight? I don't think he is. I don't think he is fighting anyone tonight. New Day sucks, says Alfie. Days, can Orton be the guy under the black mask that we saw at Extreme Rules? I don't think so. I'm not expecting... Do you mean the guy on TV? That dude? Not expecting that. I don't think there's anything that's necessarily pointing to that. That would need some explaining. Do you know what I mean? As to why he's joined up with Bray out of nowhere. Last time we saw him, he was with Riddle in Arcade Bro, and now he comes back and he's with Bray. That would need some explaining. Plus also, I think like people want Bray versus. See, I'm of the opinion that Uncle Howdy is Bray. And I don't think that... So I don't think that what we're seeing is the start of necessarily a feud. I don't think we're going to get Bray versus Uncle Howdy. At the moment, I don't think that, because at the moment, I think Uncle Howdy is Bray, and I don't think we're getting Bray versus Bray. So, trying to work Randy into that, tricky. The whole story's tricky because there's just so many questions at the moment, but I'd be leaning towards unlikely. Not impossible, but unlikely. It's a split personality angle, said Inside Out and again. Is Sheamus better than Roman? I don't think so. It's Decorian. I prefer to watch Roman matches. Jilly said, we're going to get Sasha. I know it's her hometown. Everyone has their favorite women's wrestler. Mine is Sasha. I've been a fan of her since the NXT days, breaking records for women with Bayley. WWE really knows how to bury their talent, said Lass. It was an awesome match. It just became so monotonous, says Chester. Corey, really thanks, Days. You answered. Long Beach hippie, shout out to you. The original alphabet, Kojiko. The original alphabet was developed by Semitic people living near Egypt. I believe that. They had the hieroglyphics, didn't they? So I can believe that they had something to do with the alphabet. And I would have said the Greeks, actually, if I was to guess. But I can go with it being Egyptians. Mr. Unfamiliar said, if they don't do Bray versus Bray, it'll be a wasted opportunity. Dominic said, I think Dolph deserves one more singles title run. Could Sheamus beat Gunther, says Decorian. He could beat Gunther, yes. I don't think that's out the realms of possibility. I don't think he will beat Gunther, but I think he could beat Gunther, yeah. Just got an advert for Tyson Fury against Chisora. That is 3rd of December. So I don't know what we got next weekend. I feel like we do have something next weekend. Obviously, tomorrow we've got a massive UFC show, which we are doing the watch along for. Then on Sunday, we've got Deji against Mayweather, which we're doing the watch along for. Next weekend, I don't know off the top of my head what it is, but I feel like it is something tasty. And then I think it's Survivor Series the week after that. And then the week after that, it's Tyson Fury against Chisora. So some big things on the way as we build towards Christmas. You'd think at this time of the year it would start to quieten down. It's actually getting busier. Right, Usos New Day is done. Usos New Day is done. We are 37 minutes into the show already. 37 minutes into the show. I guess Solo will win the IC Championship. He might as well at this point, said Lass. We're backstage with Roman. Solo, here's the Usos. You saw, baby. Roman's not happy. He gets up out of a chair. Deep breath. He's got to be happy. It was good. Feels good. This is what being the greatest of all time feels like. Time for me to handle some stuff. But I need you by my side. What's he doing? I'm going to do it the right way. He's going to call out Bray. We're going to handle this business the right way. What's Roman doing? I need you by my side. Who's he calling out? Is it Bray? Do you think it's Bray? We've only got 2 weeks till Survivor Series. Who's on his radar? Who's on his radar? He's beaten Logan, so he ain't going to call out Logan. Who's bothering Roman? No one's bothering Roman. Tony Khan, acknowledge me. What's it going to be? Who's it going to be? It's going to be The Rock. Oh, my God. What do you think he's going to call The Rock out? World Cup starts now. World Cup starts now. Na, 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 na. Ali, Shinsuke, Ricochet, Braun, Jinder, Sammy, Butch, and Santos Escobar. That is everyone that is in the World Cup. I can't remember if this is the same World Cup as the one before. I feel like it is. I feel like it's the same World Cup as before. I say Braun will win. Braun versus Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship, says Basketball Pro. Says, I need you by my side. Sort of suggests that he needs backup, which I'm wondering if that means he's going to call out a group. Hit Zelina, but wow, look at Zelina Vega. She looks stunning. Santos Escobar making his way down. Legado. Legado. Santos does not look great to me. Santos looks like someone cosplaying to be a wrestler. Not sure about. I'm not sure about that cape. His mask looks pretty good actually when you see it up close. Not sure about the cape. I am a lover of a good cape though. In all fairness, I do love a good cape. Just looks a bit generic. Like generic Mexican lucha outfit. The Rock would be dumb. He's old. He's not had a match in 5 years, said Lass. It would be massive, though. He's the biggest star in Hollywood. Who doesn't know of The Rock? Even my mom knows who The Rock is. Like, he's massive. But he's got to be. I mean, is he the biggest star in the world? I feel like there's probably a good chance he is. I love Shinsuke's attire. I've only just seen. Look at this. Fluorescent yellow. You could turn, if Bray was attacked now, if Bray attacked right now, you would still see Shinsuke. Proper glow-in-the-dark attire, that's what he's got. Roman might call out Gunther and Imperium. Oh my God. That would be epic. That would be epic. That would be the best. If he calls out Gunther and Imperium, that would be the best. But there's not enough members. That'd only be 3-on-3. There's only 3 Imperiums. I think that's what you call them. 3 Imperiums. I think there's only 3 Imperiums. Oh, Gunther, that'd be awesome. Do you think Roman is addressing Survivor Series War Games? Yes. I don't think you start a feud now so close to Survivor Series without it paying off at Survivor Series. So, yeah. Japan versus Mexico right now. I don't actually know if Santos Escobar is from Mexico. I think he is. Shinsuke is dressed like the woman from Kill Bill. Yeah, that's true. Kill Santos. There was a CMLL mention. Oh, that's nice for them. That's nice. Christian said AJ, Nakamura, Ricochet, Riddle, and Drew versus Bloodline. Well, AJ's on Raw, isn't he? And Riddle's on Raw. So I don't think it would be those. It'd be weird if he just started calling out random people. I don't know. I'm thinking either Bray or Gunther and Imperium. It'd be weird if he did just go Ricochet, Drew, and just add a list. Be a bit strange. Roman, Usos, Solo versus Gunther, Ludwig, Giovanni, Alexander Wolf. If they're bringing him back, but would you bring him back just for this match? Is there a tag team that could go with Imperium that would work with Imperium? Not. Is there? Not really. I'm trying to think if there's like a heel tag team that's also a bit like Imperium, but I can't think of anyone. Tricky. Roman calls out Imperium, and Ilya Dragunov joins Imperium. Not sold on it. He's a face, isn't he? So you'd have to turn him heel. And why would he join Imperium? Imperium and Maximum Male Model dream match. That's it. Here we are, scratching our heads. And it was right in front of us the whole time. No-brainer? Of course it's going to be Imperium and Maximum Male Models. Of course. And if they turn him down, they could go and get Los Lotharios. So... the list of acknowledgement, acknowledge it. Roman's going to call out Jake Paul after what happened at Crown Jewel, says Big Biker Brie. Who would it be, though? Logan, Jake, the 2 guys from the podcast? God, I mean, we're just going into flipping Disneyland now, aren't we? I don't know. Is that a Survivor Series? I feel like it's probably more palatable after how well Logan did at Crown Jewel, but I'd rather it be Imperium. Even though I can't figure out who else would be with Imperium. Logan, KSI, 2 guys from the podcast versus Andrew Tate, Roman Usos, and Solo. Oh, God, no. I mean, I would just vomit. Andrew Tate should not get any kind of spotlight like this. Apparently, he's going to be taking on Jake, isn't he? Andrew Tate is not the family-friendly person that you want to be bringing in to the WWE world. Shinsuke with a slide-in German, and Zelina is horrified with what she saw. Mitchell, shout out to you. It would have to be NXT UK people to join Imperium. Maybe Tyler Bates. Let's click on this. Maybe Tyler Bates. Maybe make a Team UK and Gunther as captain versus Bloodline. I think NXT UK is dead, to be honest. And I think that you would need to educate the main roster, like the casual fans, about NXT UK. I mean, don't forget, NXT UK was only on the WWE network. It was shown on TV here in the UK, but such a small audience tuned into it that I don't think you can make that part of an angle. That wouldn't work for me. That wouldn't work. I think part of the problem is that if you do Imperium and a couple of people, it's going to feel really random. I understand then grouping it and saying NXT UK, but I just don't think that's going to resonate with a lot of people. I just think the NXT UK brand is dead now. Doesn't mean anything. Didn't have any beef with Roman. I would struggle with that. But I can't give you a good answer because I'm struggling with all of them. If you do Imperium, I definitely want Roman and Usos against Imperium. That much I know. Anything beyond that, I'm struggling. Obviously, you can bring in Solo and Sammy for Bloodline, no-brainer. Who you bring in for Imperium, I don't know, because anyone will just feel like they're just bolted on. It's tricky. It is tricky. Nice spin kick there by Nakamura. Santos Escobar goes down. Over in the corner, Nakamura. The Lena pops up. She distracts the referee. Santos gets pulled out of the ring. Nakamura. Baseball slides. Zelina tells one of the fans to shut up. Santos gets chucked back into the ring. Oh, knee to the midsection. Del Toro, was it? Nakamura with a kick. Escobar putting his head between the ropes. Nakamura climbing up. Top rope enziguri there by Santos. I don't know which way this is going to go, actually. I feel like both of these guys could really do with the victory. Do you think John would join Roman? I don't think so. Actually, thinking about it, it's heel versus heel, isn't it? Both of those teams are heel. Escobar gets the win, just as I managed to type the name in the bottom. Nagato. Escobar and company are going to be a problem because of the numbers. So there was a lot of outside interference, but the match ends. Santos Escobar puts Shinsuke up on his shoulders. And then sort of F5 into a driver from the middle rope, drives Shinsuke down. And Santos Escobar gets the victory. Mitchell said, for Worlds Collide, didn't Gunther support Tyler Bate for his title match? It would make sense the Ring General recruits ring soldiers. First of all, I honestly don't remember. I mean, he did have a word with him, yes, but that was the end of NXT UK. Like, that was when the titles got merged, and it was a little fleeting word backstage. I just don't think it's enough. I don't think it's enough. First of all, Tyler Bate's a face, so you'd have to turn him heel. And I don't think that WWE would want to base that team around NXT UK, which is no longer going. Doesn't mean anything anymore. Tyler Bate's not on the main roster, and he's never been on the main roster, so people would need to be introduced to Tyler Bate as well. I just feel like there's a lot that's messy about going in that direction. And actually, to be perfectly truthful, I mean, Bloodline are heels. Gunther and Imperium are heels. As much as I would love to see the match, is that a match WWE are going to book? Are they going to book Bloodline against Imperium? I'm probably leaning towards no. What with it being heels versus heels? I am seriously wondering if he's going to call out Bray. And then Bray's going to need some backup. And things could move really quick if that happens. What if it's just Roman versus Bray at Survivor Series? What if it's Roman versus Bray one-on-one and it's Bloodline have a match? But you see, if Bloodline have a match, who are they going to have? Because you're going to have Usos, Solo, Sammy, and apparently you need 5. God, I don't know, man. It's hard. It's really hard to know which way this is going. Apparently, Roman is the number 1 heel, and Bray is the number 1 face. So if he calls out Bray, Bray's going to need to get some people with him. Tribal Chief's going to call out the big dog, said Dark Angel. Right. There was a little thing for the armed forces. Of course, it is the 11th of the 11th. Thank you, veterans, honouring all that served. Right, Liv Morgan making her way down. Every match tonight has got major stakes. That's true, actually. That's true. Every match matters tonight. I like that. So Liv versus Sonya versus Shotzi versus Raquel versus Lacey Evans versus someone else that I've forgotten. Xia Li. Coming up next, 6-pack challenge. Winner faces Ronda at Survivor Series. So Ronda is having a one-on-one match. Okay, so first of all, no champ versus champ. It's not Ronda versus Bianca. The winner of this match is going to be facing Ronda. Not only that, but it looks like we are having singles matches at Survivor Series. And it's not just going to be all 5-on-5 matches. We're not going back, who knows, under Triple H what we were doing. So I think that's quite interesting. Winner of this will face Ronda. I knew that much, but I didn't know it was at Survivor Series. So that makes me question, is Roman having a one-on-one match? And if he is that person Bray? Is that person Bray? Is he about to call out Bray Wyatt? I think there's a chance. I really think there's a chance. Seth versus Balor. What if he addresses Sammy's absence, says Dominic. I don't think he will. It's personal reasons. I feel like WWE have already done that. Winner faces Ronda at Survivor Series. Rumor have it Butcher's replaced Jordan Pickford in the World Cup squads. Good signing. Next episode of WEP should be about wrestling pet peeves. Oh, that's a good shout. I like that. Hey, maybe that's a way forward, you know? I've never thought of doing that. Maybe we talk on here about what the subject should be for the next podcast. You then decide, and then we do it on a Tuesday. That's a nice way of like connecting the streams to the podcast. I quite like that, you know. I quite like that. Because I must admit, we do a podcast each Tuesday. And it's always hard to know what to talk about because I feel like we talk about everything already. So it doesn't really leave anything else. Like, there's really no stone that we don't turn over. It's not as if there's subjects and we go, yeah, we're not going to talk about that. We just talk about anything and everything to do with wrestling. Whatever you guys ask, we talk about. So I always find getting to a Tuesday, I'm like, I just don't know what to talk about because we've spoke about everything. So that's kind of interesting. I like that. I like that. I think they won't shove Bray into the title picture. They're going to make it a slow burn, said Nate. You could be right, Nate. You could be right. I'm sure you can tell. I cannot figure out which way they're going. I'm really excited to find out. Really excited. I mean, could it be the Brawling Brutes? Could it be Sheamus? I mean, I think Sheamus has had a great year. And, you know, Brawling Brutes are credible. So is it going to be a case that we see Sheamus and the Brawling Brutes? Could it be that they go up against, I don't know who would join them though. See, they're faces. And you've got Pete Dunne. Maybe you could get Tyler Bate involved there because obviously there's a relationship there. I still don't know that they'd want to bring Tyler Bate to the main roster though, because he's never been on the main roster. I think he's made a fleeting appearance. But, like, you know, when they've done a UK show. But, I don't know. Is there a face team that you could put with the Brawling Brutes? That must be easier, mustn't it? There must be a face team. New Day and Brawling Brutes. New Day and Brawling Brutes against Bloodline. Roman Reigns' special moment is what they're calling it. Guys, we're going to have a special moment with Roman Reigns. Amazing. Special moment. It's going to be a special moment. New Day versus Brawling Brutes. LA Knight is here. Major fumble of not having... Oh, Bray's logo appeared behind LA Knight. Bray's logo just appeared behind LA Knight. Why did it appear behind LA Knight? Wow, we just got a little... This is my time. Fix that. Turn this trash off. Bray? Bray's here? My name's Bray. Now we can be friends. I can see that anger and rage. Me too. He's cracking up, isn't he? He's laughing to himself. I'm asking you. How far are you willing to go? Go back to your little romper room. I love the funhouse being called a romper room. Headbutt by Bray. Bray headbutts LA Knight. Is that going to be his first opponent? They should bring back Gail Kim. Yes, Bray LA Knight. I'm telling you, LA Knight has rock-like charisma, says Jilly. Bray's logo keeps being associated with people who have gone back to their old characters, like LA Knight, Liv, Seth, Nikki, says MDJ. That's an interesting thought. Has Liv gone back to an old character, though? Has Liv gone back to an old character? And has the logo been around Seth? I can't remember the logo being around Seth. It is true that there have been people that have gone back to old characters. I don't know that that's connected with Bray, though. I feel like it's a fun theory, but I feel like that's more Triple H trying to fix Vince's problems, things that Vince got wrong. And so I feel like it's more Triple H. Roman calls out Uncle Howdy for stealing the spotlights. LA Knight is going to be destroyed. That was a nice headbutt. It was a weird little. It's not what I was expecting. Not what I was expecting at all. I'm a bit confused by it, actually. I'm not down on it. I'm just a bit confused by it because LA Knight has not been... LA Knight was in Maximum Male Models and now he's just out on his own. And I don't know that feels big enough for like Bray's first feuds, if that's where we're going. And it feels like it could be where we're heading. This is a new character. It doesn't make sense. I mean, what I would say is that he does need to take on someone and he does need to win. Yeah? I think we can agree on that. He definitely needs to take on someone and he definitely needs to win. LA Knight is a great talker. It would be an interesting build, but I don't know that it's got the credibility that people are looking for. Does that matter for a first feuds? I don't know. I just feel like I've gone from Roman to LA Knight, which is a bit of a drop-off, to be honest. It's just a little bit of a drop-off. Let's do this video, get a video out, 'cause it definitely is a talking point. Huge breaking news coming out of SmackDown. We were backstage with LA Knight, and in the background, you can see that the screen started to play up. It said SmackDown. And then, of course, we started to get some imagery. A few flashes of some of the recent images we've been getting from Bray segments. I also noticed Uncle Howdy flash up on screen. Here you can see that LA Knight hasn't spotted it, but he does spot it. And basically, he turns around and says, "Get this off the screen. This is my time." So he was not very pleased that Bray was trying to interrupt his promo time. Things would take a real interesting turn, though, because Bray arrived. Bray actually was there in this segment, and seemingly these two could be on a collision course. Bray said to LA Knight, "I can see the anger and rage in you. Me too." So, and he started laughing. Like, this really feels like Bray is getting more and more unhinged. We've started to see that over recent weeks, and this kind of felt like more of an unhinged Bray Wyatt. And he was basically saying to LA Knight, "How far are you willing to go?" And LA Knight basically told him to go back to his romper room, which I thought was a really funny line. He's obviously referring to the Firefly Funhouse. And he was not bothered by Bray being there at all. He was quite happy to talk back to him. And LA Knight is a fantastic talker. So, yeah, but this is just so strange because if this is going to be Bray's first feuds, This is not a name that I think anyone has been mentioning. But it is true that like Bray needs to win his first feuds, and it needs to have a good build. And LA Knight would provide that. LA Knight is a fantastic talker. It's just that he's not long out of maximum male models. Not that long ago, he was Max Dupree. And I don't feel like there's been maybe enough time between that and where we are right now. So it's just a bit strange seeing these two face to face. But as I said, LA Knight was certainly not intimidated. Here you can see he's got Bray in front of him. He's got obviously that mass persona on screen behind him. And he was quite happy. He had a big smile on his face. He would get headbutted by Bray, and Bray would walk off. LA Knight would then look around, and Bray was seemingly gone. And he would comment, LA Knight, where's he gone? Where's he gone? Kind of suggesting that Bray had vanished into thin air. But obviously the main talking point here is that for some reason Bray has targeted LA Knight, and it feels like this could be the first feuds. Obviously there's nothing in their history. LA Knight has not that long been on the main roster. This one, just out of nowhere. There was an excellent point made in the chat, though. And apologies, because I can't remember who made the point. Feel free to put it in the comments. But we are seeing Bray kind of going after people that have reverted back to old characters. And that is certainly true when you think of Alexa, who has gone back to an old character. And it's certainly true of LA Knight, who came in as Max Dupree. And it's true that Nikki Cross was involved in Alexa's match at Crown Jewel. Obviously, we don't know if Nikki Cross is involved with Bray, but Nikki Cross has gone back to an old character. So those points are true. It's just, could be coincidence, because Triple H, I think, is undoing a lot of the work that Vince has got wrong. So, interesting, though. I was definitely interested by that theory. But yeah, this is a big, big talking point right now. It seems like Bray and LA Knight are on a collision course. Why, though? Why LA Knight? Why LA Knight? I think Roman is going to call out KSI. Do you? Do you think that? I don't know that Roman's going to... I think he's done with YouTubers, to be honest. Although, seemingly, it looks like Crown Jewel was a big success. Seems like that has gone well. They just put up a graphic saying that it was one of the biggest, most watched Saudi shows of all time. I think it is the most watched Saudi show of all time. I can't share this on Twitter either, which is annoying. Bray Wyatt's first feud revealed. Bray targeting LA Knight on SmackDown. Yeah, I'm really split on it, Like, part of me thinks, yeah, he's a great talker and it's going to be a great build. But then, as you heard me just say, like, we're not that far away from him being Max Dupree. So I sort of feel like there's not that much credibility for LA Knight on the main roster. I know it's LA Knight, and I know that he was like cool down in NXT. I know it's Eli Drake. I know he's been around forever, and I know that a lot of the fans will know him. But if you've only really like been watching the main roster, like watching LA Knight like get into a fight with Bray is a bit like watching a small kid at school trying to pick on the biggest bully. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just looks weird. Feels weird. I don't know. I'm really split on it. But he is good, and he's a good wrestler. And actually, if we want Bray to have a good match, LA Knight might be able to bring out a good match in Bray. That's been a criticism of Bray, is that his matches have not been, all that and a bag of potato chips, It's been a bit limited in ring. Maybe Triple H is trying to give LA Knight credibility. Oh, I'm sure he is. I just think I would rather he got some credibility first and then face Bray, rather than get the credibility by facing Bray. Doesn't matter. No, it's not. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm not down on it. I'm just surprised by it. That's what it is. I'm not down on it. I'm just surprised. Mitchell said, I've got a couple of pet peeves. The Bray stuff is all over the place and I'm confused. Raquel's character seems to be that she has a back. Yeah, I agree. And Survivor Series is 2 weeks out and we don't have a men's match. Well, I think you will get that from Roman. Obviously, we're getting a special Roman segment tonight. So I think we should get that, but obviously there's no guarantees at this moment. We're still underway. We were at commercial break, by the way. We're no longer at commercial break. We are underway with this match as we're trying to find out who is going to be facing Ronda at Survivor Series 6-pack challenge. So we're seeing a lot of people jumping in and out of the ring. We've seen Liv on the outside. Raquel. Oh, big power bomb to Xia Li. Sonya trying to get the pin, but pulled out the ring by Raquel. Big boot by Raquel. Raquel going underneath the ring. This is fast-tracking what Vince screwed up, said Siler. What think about doing a War Games watch-along, says Colin. Maybe. Not sure. I'm not sure because we are so busy. I mean, we did a lot of watch-alongs during lockdown, but that's because there wasn't any sporting events. There was no boxing. All the boxing had been cancelled. UFC was still going, in all fairness, and we were doing those, but things were quieter during lockdown. Liv Morgan launches off the barricades. Little bit sloppy. So if we have spare time to do a watch along, then we could look to do one. But I honestly don't know if we will have time. So Liv is down. Raquel is down. Sonya's down. Is there table chants? I think we've got some table chants. So, still down at the moment. Oh, I might be able to put that video. I might share that link on the Wrestling Escape Pods. Big right hands. Lacey in there with Shotzi. Shotzi against the ropes. Shotzi wins. Shotzi gets the victory. So there we go. It's going to be Shotzi against Ronda. So Shotzi was in there with Lacey. We haven't seen much of Lacey, but she loves that DDT, doesn't she? So she got she traps the leg. So Lacey's on one leg, drops her down. It's basically a one-legged DDT. Right, well, Roman's got to handle some business, but my thoughts are that Roman is not going to call out Bray because Bray's just made it clear that he's going to start with LA Knight. And do you know what? I think they showed you that so that you didn't expect it to be Bray. I think they showed it so that you understand that Bray is busy. Bray is busy. It's not going to be Bray. Remember, Shotzi has nearly beaten Ronda already this year, said WWE fan. I think Shotzi kind of thinks she makes it look fake. Roman won't call out Bray. He's got no reason to, says Jono. Well, I think he's got a reason to. I think the reason is that Roman wants all of the attention. And it's very clear that Bray has taken a lot of that attention recently. He's the top merch seller now. So Roman is no longer the top merch seller. And so I think that he could want to nip that in the bud. He could want to basically kill the new favorite, people's new hero, the returning hero, one of the biggest moments of the year when Bray came back. Roman is going to have seen all of that. And so I think Roman could easily make a point that he is the tribal chief. He is the head of the table. He is the one that should be acknowledged, not false prophets. And so, calls out Bray. But it doesn't feel like it's going that way. It doesn't feel like it's going that way because, as we said, it looks like we're going to be getting Bray and LA Knight instead. LA Knight to join Wyatt 6 is going to happen, says Mark. Bray is definitely recruiting LA Knight. I think Roman is going to say, yeah, we are winning. We, the GOATs, we have the gold, the records, whatever. Then his next opponent will interrupt or something. Bray could be recruiting. He could be recruiting. Yeah, he could be recruiting. Bray looked at his left hand, the hurt hand, and then attacked Knight. Isn't tonight the 10-year anniversary of the Shield? I don't know that that's tonight. It is, wasn't it the other day, actually? I thought that had happened the other day. Ronda versus Shotzi is going to be the worst match of all time. I don't care for it at all, says Harley. No way they sat up a table and just leave it. Well, they were meant to go through it, and I think that spot failed. So I think Liv, when she jumped off the barricade, I think she completely mistimed it, and it went wrong. So I don't think she was meant to botch it, but it got botched. Right, we are at commercial break. We are at commercial break at the moment. Shotzi has got a good promo game and is solid in ring. Aaron said Rollins was the last person to beat Roman technically. What is the main event? I don't think they've said, have they? Is it Roman's special moment? We've still got Roman's special moment to come. Erasure Mind said, God bless that table. Okay, we are just looking at SmackDown in Indianapolis. Is this Indianapolis? So they're just talking about like some of the local sports stars that are there. Backstage, we got Shotzi's tank. Oh, she's over the moon. Here's Emma. Emma congratulates Shotzi. You took Ronda to her limit. She's got a crush on Madcap. Emma's got a crush on Madcap. Oh my God. Oh. Here's Shayna. Let me explain what you've just won. The beating of a lifetime. More pain and anguish than you have ever felt. Are you done? Ronda has never been in the ring with someone like me. I might just surprise Ronda, you, and the entire world. I actually think Shotzi really could benefit by getting the title, you know? Oh, here's Ronda. Oh! Did she call her Jessie? Perhaps she called her Shotzi. Ronda laughs. Clean up on aisle green. Backstage with Kayla Braxton. They are building Shayna versus Ronda, and it's beautiful, said Mr. Unfamiliar. I think she says Jessie. Is Shotzi's real name Jessie? Because if her real name is Jessie, I think Ronda called her by her real name. What's Shotzi's real name? If it's not Jessie, then I must have heard it wrong. But it sounds to me like she said, "What's that, Jessie?" No, it's not a name. Her name's Ashley. She must have called her Shotzi, but it just sounded like Jessie. Jessie. Her real name's Ashley, by the way. Ashley Louise Urbanski. We're backstage with Ricochet and Imperium. Didn't you have enough last time? What, Ricochet wants the IC title again? I would love to beat you again, says Gunther. I would love to beat you again. Shotzi is overrated. We're being taken back to last Saturday night. He's talking about Braun and Amos. Could this be foreshadowing? Is Roman going to call out Braun? I think we've gone through everyone, haven't we? Braun. Ricochet wants the IC title. Who have you got out of Dustin or Chandler? Dustin. Heel Ronda is awesome, said Jackson. Big Biker said Roman brings back Naomi and Sasha as Bloodline members straight to a women's tag title match at Survivor Series. I don't think Roman would have an issue with damage control. I feel like Roman would respect damage control. I mean, it is true. He said that he's got a bit of business to attend with. That business might be bringing back Naomi. But if he brought back Naomi, and maybe Sasha as well, I think that would make more sense if the current champs were faces. But they're heels. And the same with Ronda. She's a heel. I think Roman probably respects that. Vicky in it. Do you think there will be a Shield 10-year anniversary without Mox? I could see Seth do a segment alone. Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know in what way. I'll get mentions, but do I think there'll be pictures in the ring and all that? I don't think so. I don't think so. I sort of feel like 10 years is good. 10 years since Roman and Seth have been on the roster, and I think they'll honor it by, saying they've been here for 10 years. And there could even be like a 10-year celebration of some kind, but I don't think that there'll be pictures of the shields and, all that kind of stuff. If anything, they'll just celebrate the fact that they've been on the main roster for 10 years. Shotzi can't beat Shayna. No business facing Ronda, said JP. Bloodline versus Chaos, says Mr. Unfamiliar. Maggie said, can't see Roman calling out Drew so soon after Clash. Roman could call out Drew, then Team Drew versus Bloodline, says Dylan. Yeah, I don't know where this rumor has come from. I think it's like a graphic that's been made of like Team Drew. I don't know if that's a rumor that's come from Dave or whatever. I mean, I'm not expecting that. Just because Roman says he's got some unfinished business, and Drew is not unfinished business. I mean, Drew is finished business. So what, like, what's his unfinished business? He's finished Logan. I can see the argument that Jake is unfinished. I could see that argument. Brock's finished. Drew's finished. New Day have finished. I don't know what he's gonna do. I felt quite good for him calling out Bray. What if he does call out Bray and Bray has recruited LA Knight, and that we're going to start, like, you know, all of a sudden now we've got Bray and LA Knight taking on Roman and the Bloodline, and then we get Bo and Rowan or Dutch and I mean, we've just got to do so much though. We've only got 2 weeks. We're going to have to move at like breaknecks. We're going to have to move at the speed of sound to get that booked. I mean, honestly, if that's what we're doing, then we really should have, you know, done more at Crown Jewel. Unless you're just going to bring everyone in at once. Bloodline versus the Truth Commission. He calls out Jay, then The Rock comes out. Rock could call out Cross. Cross is a heel, though. He could have just attacked LA Knight and could still have Roman call out Bray. That's true. In a perfect world, Triple H has opened the forbidden door and he makes a deal with Tony, said CS Dub, and then the Undisputed Era could come in for one night and Bloodline versus Undisputed Era. But he doesn't have Bobby Fish anymore. So, I mean, Undisputed Era is only Kyle and Adam Cole. That's it. We're back from commercial break. Table Botch took me out of that women's match, said LB. It could be Owens. Owens did have an issue with Roman. That is true, isn't it? That is true. That is true. Yeah, that is true. Owens did say that Roman owed him. But he's not been very vocal about it, has he? WWE has posted a lot about the Shield and has not hid Moxley. They even had his name as Ambrose in a recent YouTube title, says Leander. Tom said, Undertaker says one last match at Survivor Series. Do you want to see Jake and Logan against the Usos? Don't know. I mean, my initial reaction is no, but Logan has proven himself. Jake's a big star in boxing, in combat. I mean, I don't like celebrities when they've got no fighting backgrounds. You know, like Bad Bunny, I just thought was a disgrace. But I mean, at least Logan has faced Mayweather and has got a bit of a fighting background, amateur wrestling background. And Jake's probably one of the most famous boxers in the world right now, even though he's only obviously at a certain level. So it would be a bit more palatable than if it was Mary, Kate, and Ashley, you know. Braun's coming down, so it looks like we've got Braun against Jinder. I think Logan and Jake versus the Usos is not a match that I would call for, but if it happens, I also wouldn't be against it. I think that's the best I can do. That's the best I can do. I'm just really not a fan of these celebrities coming in. I just think when you've got people that are working house shows, working Smackdowns, putting the graft in, those are the people that you want to see rewarded at Survivor Series, at SummerSlam, at WrestleMania. Those are the people that you want to see get the opportunities. You know, these are the people that are on the show week in, week out. These are the people that go to the house shows. These are the people that put the grind in. You know, it's meant to be that if you do the work, you get the rewards. And we're just seeing so many celebrities coming in and taking spots away from wrestlers that put the work in. And that's always a problem, I think. But we know that this is a dirty business, and it's all about how many eyes can you get on the product. It's not so much about who deserves it. It's about how can we get the biggest rating possible. And if that's the game you're playing, then Jake Paul, Logan Paul's, it's a no-brainer, is it? It's a no-brainer. Right, we are underway with our second match of the evening. So this is Jinder Mahal versus Braun Strowman. I am really split on what Roman's going to do. I mean, I don't know who he's calling out. I can see an argument as to why it will be Bray. I can really see an argument as to why it will be Bray. Tanner said, I think Sheamus would be a good opponent. Yeah, since they've got a history. Sheamus stole the title originally from Roman back at the 2015 Survivor Series. Could that be unfinished business? God, I mean, to go back to something from 7 years ago is pretty wild, but if it bothers him, then sure. Braun charging over, collides into Jinder. Braun has got Jinder. Braun looks like he's about to put Jinder away. Picks Jinder up, plants him down. Powerbomb. 1, 2, 3. Done, mate. If Amos got added to the Hurt Business, this would have been a great time for Bloodline Hurt Business at War Games, said Dominic. BT is glitching. Can't say I've seen anything. Braun beats Jinder. This much body mass should not be able to move this quickly. Drew, Owens, and the Brutes against Bloodline. Isn't Owens over on Raw? I mean, not that it's the biggest problem, but we've seen plenty of Raw stars coming over to face Roman. Over 800 days for Roman now as undisputed champion, as Universal champ. Over 800 days. Oh, we've got to get to 1,000. We're so close to 1,000. So close to 1,000 days. This Monday, the A-lister addresses the accusations that were put against him. This is a stupid cup, said Veggie Beast. Do you think we will see a big man match, Hurt Business, with Amos versus Brock Braun and 2 others? There's no indication that the Hurt Business are getting back together. So I'm going to lean towards no. Just because there's no indication that the Hurt Business are still a thing, to be honest. Any thoughts on Road Dogg's comments? I think they were stupid. If you didn't see, Road Dogg caused controversy. He said that Brett wasn't that great of a wrestler. And he said that Road Dogg was a better sports entertainer. I could maybe get with Road Dogg being more of a sports entertainer. I still don't know that that's true. But I could understand his point better when he says that Road Dogg was a better sports entertainer than Brett, because I think Brett was, trained in the dungeon, a fantastic technical wrestler, he's idolized by the likes of FTR, multiple time champion, always had incredible matches, always cared about his matches, structured his matches, famously, helped Bulldog through that main event of SummerSlam 92. Bulldog even said, I'm done. I can't remember anything. And so Brett had to walk him through it. I think to say that Brett was not a very good wrestler is just, I can't even begin to get my head around that. I can't understand that. I don't understand what he's on about. But I do understand when he says that Road Dogg perceives himself to be a better sports entertainer, because I think then you're starting to bring in promos. I think you're starting to bring in like some of the fun, quirky stuff that, you know, the New Age Outlaws did. You know, you didn't really see too much of that from Brett. Brett was quite serious. I mean, wrestling-wise, he's one of the best wrestlers of all time. So to say he's not a great wrestler is, I can't get my head around it. But I could understand. I'm still not agreeing, but I could at least sit here and go, yeah, well, I get his point in regards to the fact that Road Dogg was a better sports entertainer. I can get his point on that. So part of me thinks it was talking waffle, and then part of me thinks, well, I sort of get where he's coming from with the one bit. It's a cheap plastic trophy, says JP. Butch, Ridge, Drew and Owens versus Bloodline. Butch, Ridge, Brawling Brutes, Drew and Owens. I just don't know. I mean, it seems like Roman is going to call someone out. So I'm not sure why you would call all of those out. He said he's got unfinished business. Well, he hasn't got unfinished business with Drew. He hasn't got unfinished business with Brawling Brutes. I mean, he could call out Kevin. I don't know that there's unfinished business there, but it is true that Kevin did say that Roman owed him. But Roman was very quick to dismiss that and say, no, I don't. So I don't know. Does he feel he's got unfinished business? I can't wait. It's really got me guessing and second guessing. I don't think there's a superstar I've not mentioned yet. I think we've gone through everyone as to who it might be. If I was to guess right now, I'm going to say Bray. I'm going to say that what we saw earlier might just be to throw us off the scent. Because I think when we saw Bray with LA Knight, my first reaction was, this is weird. Why are we doing this? I wonder if it was to recruit him. And I wonder if we are just being thrown off the scent a little bit. Zelina Vega is back out. So Zelina Vega's going to have a match now. Hero. Is this going to be Zelina versus B-Fab? Hit, roll. Zelina Vega versus B-Fab. B-Fab has been looking forward to this matchup for weeks. Zelina Vega is sat waiting as looking very unconcerned. Money. If it's Bray, then Roman versus Rock won't happen because Bray isn't going to lose, says Mr. Unfamiliar. What Bray might do, though, is he might get disqualified if he beats on Roman and beats him down and just keeps on beating him and doesn't actually pin and win. Like, you know, if we are seeing an unhinged Bray, he could lose by DQ, but look incredible doing it. Whoa! Is this going to be Sarah Logan? Viking Raiders are coming. Trent said, it's been reported Bobby Roode is in the building. Sarah Logan! Sarah Logan! Oh, and the Viking Raiders have attacked. Tell you what, that is cool. I've been waiting for these guys to come. Been waiting for these guys to arrive. We've been getting vignettes week after week after week, and that's a really great presentation of Sarah Logan in the entranceway. Barefooted as well, you know. God, she looks cool, doesn't she? She could be with Bray, man. Look at her. Barefooted. Dreads all down her back. She's got like horns. She's got black markings on her hands. She's got black across her face. She looks amazing. She looks brilliant. She looks like the real-life carnation of Sister Abigail if Sister Abigail was like a Viking. A Viking queen. This is the Viking queen, Sister Abigail. She looks sick, man. She looks so good. She looks so good. Sick smile on the face of Sarah Logan. Valhalla awaits. They're picking up. Look at that. Top Dollar just gets picked up and power bombed down. Sarah Logan jumps into the ring. She grabs B-Fab. Sarah Logan is back. Big strike. Look at all of her face in it. Look at it, man. Oh my God. She looks so good. She's got like a line straight down here. The top part of her face is all black. It's got like Abaddon vibes to a degree. Look at that. Oh, God, it's so cool. Do you know what? There's something to be said for actually looking at people and thinking to yourself, I would not mess with that. Because not that I would want to mess with any of the wrestlers, but it is true that, you know, as wrestlers have got a bit smaller, they are less intimidating. It's only when you look at Eric and Ivar and Sarah Logan that you go, damn, I wouldn't want to mess with them. I wouldn't want to mess with that. That looks terrifying. That looks terrifying. God, she looks so good. She looks so good. If you can't tell, I'm a big fan. Sarah Logan doing her best Max the Impaler impression. Listen to that segment again. LA Knight said, where did it go? She looks like a Mad Max character. Sarah Logan returns. They look beautifully scary. It's nice the Viking Raiders aren't a total joke anymore, said John. I agree. I agree. I agree. I think for the longest time, they have been a bit of a joke. Oh. So good. They didn't repackage. They only added Sarah Logan. I feel like they've been repackaged in the sense of they've just attacked in like an orange light. And now they have like, obviously Sarah Logan in the entranceway as like a very kind of Scarlet kind of character. So she sort of distracts, which allows them to attack. And look great. Look really, really great. There's no repackage in the sense of they're wearing different things or whatever. I suppose in the sense you're right, it's a representation, a refresh. But I'm all for it. I thought it was brilliant. Acknowledge me. What is he about to say? What is he about to say? Dun 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 dun. What is he about to say? If you was to bet money right now, what would your money be on? Who are you expecting? Should we do a poll? We do a poll. Do a poll. Who will Roman call out? Is he going to call out Kevin Owens? Is he going to call out Bray Wyatt? Is he going to call out Logan and Jake, or is he going to call out someone different? Let's have a look, see what you lot think as Roman makes his way down to the ring. Have you got the new Brock Lesnar Ultimate Edition? No, I haven't got. We don't sell them. They don't do Ultimate Editions over here. They don't sell them in Smiths. I don't think there's any shop you can get them from, so you have to. Is there a nightmare? Trying to get any Ultimate Editions in the UK is close to impossible. You have to get them shipped over. He announced his move from a table to a booth. Oh, it's a lot more comfortable in a booth, in all fairness, Siler. It's a really good shout, that is. A lot more comfortable. Survivor Series 2 weeks. It's the 11th and it's the 26th. We're getting War Games match revealed tonight. We've still got 2 weeks to build. Yeah, I think Roman's about to announce what he's going to do at Survivor Series. I think this is a big segment that's coming up here. I think it's a big segment. We the ones. Can we get recognition for the new Finkel on SmackDown? What? Samantha Irvin? The new Finkel? There is no new Finkel. There's only one Howard Finkel. There's only one Fink. There won't be anyone that gets... That's like trying to say we've got a new Mean Gene Okerlund. It's never going to happen. Since Bray has come back, he's yet to acknowledge his tribal chief, says Mr. Unfamiliar. Bray Wyatt interruption. I'm feeling oozy tonight. Please get a last second Bray thing, said Jackson. I think the last segment was a preview of War Games. We the Ooses. What is he going to say that's going to take the rest of the show? Oh, I don't know, you know. Well, we've got a commercial break. That's going to take us to 10 minutes. Then they'll probably have a little waffle for a bit. Acknowledge me. And then he'll congratulate the Usos. Then, you know, we'll get to it. By the time we get to it, there'll be, 5 minutes? Maybe end a few minutes early. I don't know. He's calling out Seth. Oh, that would be good. That would be good. 10 years. 10 years after the Shields, and we get Roman Seth. New face Seth as well. Yeah. I can see that. I could see that. Because that is unfinished business. Because didn't he lose at the Royal Rumble? I think he lost at the Rumble because he put the submission hold on and didn't let it go. So he choked Seth out, but he didn't let it go. And I think technically Seth won. That is unfinished business from only earlier this year. I think you've just called it. I think whoever just said Seth has just called it. I'm so bad at... Seth is feuding with Finn. Next week it won't be Seth. Seth is feuding with Finn next week. They're just open challenges, aren't they? I think they're only open challenges. I don't know that that's a feud because Judgment Day are in a feud with OC. So if he is facing Finn, I think it'll only be a one-off match. I don't think that's going to be what he does for Survivor Series. No, I'm liking the Seth one. I hope it's not Seth, said Jojo. Cross, CM Punk. Well, where are we? We've got 14% think Kevin Owens, 30% think Bray, 10% think Logan and Jake, 46% think other. So it seems like people are really split on this. It seems like people are really split, with most people thinking the majority think it's not Kevin, Bray, or Logan and Jake. Mitchell said, I know there's a certain commentator you don't like. Very true. But if you watch the show, you'll recognize two of his co-hosts are sitting behind Michael Cole. Wow. Unsurprisingly, I don't watch his show. But Mitchell, thanks for all the info. John said, is Cody ready to come back yet? I don't think so. I don't think he's back until like the Rumble at the earliest. And even that felt like it might be quite close. I'm sure he's moving heaven and hell to try and get back. I'm leaning towards this being Seth now, you know. I'm leaning towards this being Seth. I said Seth said CSW Wrestling. Shout out to you. Shout out to you, CSW Wrestling. I think that's the best shout I've seen because he said I've got unfinished business. And I can see why Seth would be unfinished business. And Seth has just turned face. Why have they turned him face? He's just turned face. Have they just turned him face so that he can go up against Roman? Because maybe LA Knight and Bray are on a collision course. And then maybe we've got Roman and Seth. I'm leaning to Seth now. I was leaning Bray, but now I'm leaning Seth. Let's end the poll. We've had over 300 votes. Let's see where this is going. Butch, Sami Zayn next week. Butch, Sami Zayn. Usi chance, Usi chance, Usi chance. Indianapolis, acknowledge me. Okay. Hiya. Hey, mates. You all right? Love your Jordans. So we've got Usos standing behind the tribal chief. Could be Seth for title versus title. That's how they split it, says Trini. Ooh. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Who comes back first, Cody or Randy? Orton's injury seems to be lingering. Haven't got updates, Cody's health. Well, I feel like they may be back at the same time, both in the Rumble. But if I was to bet, I would say Cody would be back first. That's not very Usi of you, says Paul Heyman. The USA versus the UK in soccer. Actually, England. It's not really the UK. Just saying. Usos and New Day is not a great sports rivalry because the New Day cannot compare to the Usos. Where are we going? Usi. There's going to be a UFC invasion. Roman wants the microphone. Here we go then. Is this it? We've acknowledged him. Heyman spoken. We got about 5 minutes to go. Our lives. Everyone's always acknowledged me. Jimmy. Jay. Jimmy J. I never thought this moment would come, but Jimmy, Jay, Brawling Brutes are coming down. What was Roman about to say there? He said, I never thought this moment would come. Was he about to acknowledge them? It's fight night. It's fight night, and we've brought back up. Sheamus is back. So maybe it's going to be... I mean, he didn't call them out. Maybe this is where we're heading. Maybe we're heading towards Brawling Brutes against... Be pretty fun, wouldn't it? In all fairness. Sheamus is here. Oh... Microphone cut out on him. This is the start of the end of the bloodline. You can't even get the mic to work. You can't even get the mic to work. The bloodline are laughing at Sheamus. I'll say it right to your face. Jumps in. Now we got a big brawl. So microphone was cutting out for Sheamus. Oh, man, that sucks, doesn't it? That sucks. In all fairness, they don't have that problem. They don't really have that problem much, do they? McIntyre making his way down. So, Brawling Brutes and McIntyre. Bit cobbled, isn't it? If I was Roman, I'd be like, you know what, forget this. Forget this. I've already beaten him. I don't need this. What's this like? Bring the losers down. Big boot by Roman. Starts pounding away Sheamus from behind. Big shots coming in. But at the moment, it's what? Butch, Ridge, Drew, Sheamus. They still need one more. Bloodline has got a problem. A Brawling Brutes and Bloodline. No, Brawling Brutes and Drew problem. So there's Survivor Series. So it was a swerve, you know. It was a swerve. You know what, though? I'm going to say something that might blow your mind. I'm going to say something that might blow your mind because it's blown my mind. I actually think there's a bigger talking point here than what happens. I actually think there's something really big that just went down that might get lost in the shuffle. Obviously, the headlines are that Survivor Series is going to be Bloodline against Brawling Brutes and Drew, and I feel like there needs to be some more added. But I think the bigger story is actually what Roman was about to say. Because don't forget, Roman was coming to the ring. And he was coming to the ring to call someone out. And there was some unfinished business. And we were speculating as to where that was going. But if you go back and think about what Roman said that he has always been head of the table. He has always been like the one like that deserves to be acknowledged. And he says, I never thought it would come to this, but Jimmy, Jay, and then he gets cut off. So the question is, what was he about to say to Jimmy and Jay, and who was he about to call out? And I think a theory could be that he was about to ask Jimmy and Jay, who is the biggest name in their family? Who is the biggest star in their family? I didn't think I'd have to ask this. I didn't think it would come to this, but who do you acknowledge in the family? Who is the biggest name in the history of the family? And he might have asked them and put them in a situation where they were going to need to provide an answer had that segment have gone on longer. And that might just be the groundwork for Roman and Rock. And that might be the first glimpse that we've had, if it was go that way. That might just be the first glimpse that we had that he's not happy with his standing within the family. And he just wants it to be reassured that he is the guy, the head of the table, you know, and that there isn't anyone bigger. Because imagine if he asked them and they thought about it. What if one of them said like The Rock or something? Because it's very interesting. Who was he going to call out, and what did he want to talk to Jimmy and Jay about? And just before that, he was talking about how he's the head of the table, head of the family. He's the one that deserves to be acknowledged. I wonder if there's some doubt that for some reason has crept in. I don't know why. Could it be because of Black Adam doing so well? I mean, Black Adam's stormed it, hasn't it, at the cinemas? You could absolutely use that as a reason as to why now of all times he's got a bit of doubt, that is he the head of the table? Because look what The Rock's just achieved. I don't know. As I was watching it live, I was like, is he about to acknowledge them? But that wouldn't make any sense, would it? Why would you have Roman do that? I mean, I know they beat the Usos earlier, but they should beat the Usos. Roman would expect them to beat the Usos. So I don't think he was... Because he said, I never expected to do this. I never expected to have to do this. And so my initial reaction was, is he going to acknowledge them for beating the Usos? Because that's something he wouldn't expect to do. But he doesn't have to do that. And I feel like if he was going to do that, he would have done it backstage. And I don't think he should do that. He's the head of the table. He is always the one that should be acknowledged. So if that doesn't feel like it's the right way forwards, and we take that off the table, what was he about to do? What was he about to say to Jimmy and Jay? Where was that conversation before they got interrupted? Where was that about to go? And I just wonder now if he was about to ask him who the biggest star in that family was. Just start wondering if that's where it was heading, and if we've just had a little seed that's been planted. I could be wrong. Dwayne is head of the box office table. Roman is head of the wrestling table. He just wrestled on weekend. It's a bad story. It's Kevin Owens. I watched the Last Man Standing match. I think you're focused a bit much on what might happen rather than what actually happens. No, we watched what happened, and as I said, I feel like that's what we're going to get for Survivor Series. I mean, what we're going to get is right there in front of our eyes. So there's not really too much to talk about there, is there? Bloodline against Brawling Brutes, Sheamus, Drew. There may need to be one other person that gets added to make it the 5-on-5. Not really too much to talk about there. But I think you're wrong. I don't think I'm focused on the wrong thing, because that whole segment was Roman has got unfinished business and he was going to call someone out, and I want you to have my back when I do. Well, he didn't call out the Brawling Brutes. He didn't call out Sheamus. He didn't call out Brawling Brutes. He certainly didn't call out Drew McIntyre. Who was he about to call out? Who does Roman feel that he's got unfinished business with? And if it was someone like Seth, why would we get that segment just before, that conversation just before, where he says to the Usos, I never expected to have to do this? Don't you think that's really interesting? I never expected to have to do this. But Jimmy, Jay, like, it sounds like something pretty major was about to follow. Jimmy, I never expected to have to do this. Jimmy, Jay, what comes next? What comes next? Because I really feel like that's a big deal. What comes next? Survivor Series, we know now. It's going to be Bloodline against Brawling Brute, Sheamus, Drew, and probably one other person. Don't know who they'll go and get, to be honest. I mean, it'll be a face. Probably would make sense if they were from the UK, because you've obviously got, well, Sheamus is from Ireland, I suppose. But you've got Sheamus from Ireland, you've got Drew from Scotland, and then you've got Ridge and Butch from England. So I think it would make sense if the final person was from, these islands, from either Ireland or Northern Ireland or Scotland or Wales or England. They don't have to be. I just think that it would make sense. They would fit in well. But I feel like I really feel like he was about to say something pretty major. I feel like we just got robbed of something pretty interesting, which I think will show itself down the roads. Maybe after Survivor Series. Maybe we revisit what his problem is after Survivor Series and we get an answer then. He totally foreshadowed that by talking about USA versus England. Do you know what, Dad Stuff? It's really interesting because he didn't say England. He said UK. And we picked him up on it. But actually now, you look at it and you go, oh, actually, when is that? When is England versus USA? I wonder if that's going to be around the same time. Because that will be everywhere, won't it? England USA is Friday the 25th of November. And Survivor Series is what, the next night, is it? 27th. Well, 26th. So you've got England versus USA on the Friday, and then you've got Survivor Series on the Saturday. You're right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It makes total sense, doesn't it? So England versus USA in the World Cup on the Friday night. And then the next night on Saturday, we do Survivor Series, which just happens to be Bloodline versus Butch, Ridge Holland, Drew McIntyre, Sheamus. And then, yeah, you'd chuck someone else in from these islands, wouldn't you? From around here. Interesting. John said, WWE often does someone was going to say something gets interrupted, and we usually never find out what they're going to say. Yeah, but I think this is different because I think like him coming out and, I mean, first of all, Roman addressing that he's got unfinished business in a backstage segment actually says to me that this is bigger. Like him, rather than him just saying like, I'm going to like issue an open challenge. I'm going to call someone out that I think deserves this opportunity or whatever. It wasn't as blatant as that. Like you could tell that Roman had been thinking about this backstage. There was a whole backstage moment that then built towards the main event. And we went into that main event speculating who's he going to call out. Like it was a big focus. It was the focus of that segment. And it wasn't just something that was dropped in and thrown away. And I also think that him saying, I never expected to have to do this, that's big. What? Who's Roman got unfinished business with? What did he not have to expect to do? Why did he say, Jimmy, Jay? There is something big on Roman's mind. There is something that Roman is really struggling with at the moment. And I really do think that that will show itself. I don't think that that was like other occasions where they go to call someone out and they get interrupted or whatever, and it's not really much to it. I feel like there was a lot to this. They have gone out of their way to give you a backstage segment. You know, it could have been a case that he just got into the ring and, you know, was about to say something and then got interrupted. We went as far as him actually saying, I never expected to do this. He never needed to say that. They could have brought the Brawling Brutes out before he even said that. And he certainly didn't need to, in a stern voice, say, Jimmy, Jay. When he said Jimmy, I thought, is he calling out Jimmy? Has he got a problem with Jimmy Uso? And then when he called out Jay, I was like, oh, okay. He's being serious about something here. And then the Brawling Brutes came out. I felt like it had built me to oh my God, what's happening? What is this? What's going on? And then the Brawling Brutes came out. Yeah, I'm confident. I'm confident there'll be payoff on that. You can quote me on it. Hold me to it. Because I think the way that they've structured it means that they want you to have really thought about it and noticed it. And they could have done it so many different ways, and they could have made it a lot more dismissive. There was a big focus on that. Right. With that news, I'm going to go because I have got a few things to do. Jake said they think they've run out of Bray promos already. I don't know that they've run out of Bray promos. I just think that they are seemingly starting a feud with LA Knight, which is very strange. I'm sure there'll be plenty of thoughts and theories as to why that's happening. I mean, Bray said, I can see the anger in you and the rage. I feel that as well. So I like the recruiting thought. I think there is a chance that he is looking to recruit. I think he sees potentially a kindred spirit. Perhaps he's going to have a match with him first to... But, I mean, in all fairness, he was Max Dupree. Now he's become LA Knight. Are we really going to change him for a third time? Because if he joins with Bray, I don't think we're going to be seeing LA Knight as he is. I think you would need LA Knight to be affected by Bray's presence and the darkness that is Uncle Howdy and all of that. I don't think you can have LA Knight swanning around being cocky. That just doesn't seem to fit. So if he is joining, and he could be joining, he would have to change again. Which we could do, but it'd just be a bit weird, wouldn't it? To go from Max Dupree to LA Knight to whatever this new version is in such a short space of time. I would just find that a bit weird. So I like the recruiting thought. I'm on board with it. But I can see some reasons as to why it might not be going that way. So at the moment, I think them having a match is probably the more likely. And I think Bray will win it. And I think that maybe during the match, that's when we get Uncle Howdy interrupting and maybe we get something pretty significant. So maybe Survivor Series is Bray versus LA Knight. But really, the match is going to be, good and it will give Bray a win. But Uncle Howdy interrupting at the end of it is going to be the bigger deal, the bigger talking point. So maybe that's where that's going. But we'll see what some of the thoughts and theories are. But I'm going to go. I really want to do a video on the Sarah Logan thing. I just thought she looked phenomenal. Obviously want to do some thoughts on the Bloodline thing and do a SmackDown review as well. So I'm going to go off and do all of those and try and get them up as soon as possible. So really appreciate everyone joining. Hope you enjoyed the show. I thought it was a really good SmackDown tonight. Really good SmackDown. So hopefully you lot enjoyed it. Tons of talking points, and that's always something I appreciate. And don't forget, we are back tomorrow. Not only have we got those videos coming on both channels, but we are back tomorrow with UFC 281. Awesome, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.